after having a scheduled stream up for 10, 11 hours, we are here. We are live. I apologize. We are A-okay. Today, we may or may not be going to war if we get a response video. Truly. Record record stalling? Yeah, W. Hey, I know. It was record stalling. But today, we will be going to war, to Battlefield, during our Volume 6 discussion with Wiz when he is free. I told him I am free all day. I will only be unavailable for like 30 minutes, max today, like midday, just to go do something for the missus. And then I'm back. And then that's it. After that, I am free the rest of the day. But we will see. That being said, we are here to read Volume 7, Lord of the Mysteries. Chapter 1327. This should be a long video, knock on wood. Not should. This is going to be a long video. We are reading easily until 1327-26, if I remember Love's timestamp. And if we're feeling crazy and dangerous, we're going to read until 35, which was the next arc Love mentioned. We will find out. We're going to find out what's going to happen. We'll find out. That being said, let's get right into it. Oh, and then whenever Wiz is free, we'll stop and we'll do our Volume 6 discussion, because I should have done it last week, but I wasn't able to. And, you know, and then we had our video go up. So let's get right to it, dude. Chapter 1317. Chapter 1317 is called Pride. Look at that. We're in. We just go right into it. What is this place? Audrey asked without much change in her expression, as though she was asking about the location of the ball tonight. Polly DeRaulu, I said that name wrong, who claimed to be the president of Psychology Alchemist, cast his gaze. Oh yeah, the president. Oh, hello. Cast his gaze out the window as well. He smiled and said, "This is the city in everyone's heart. It's present wherever there are people." Audrey nodded and thought, in other words, you can enter this place from any corner of human society. DeRaulu stroked his wheelchair and said, "That's right." He didn't explain further and instead pointed at the pedestrians outside the carriage. Everything here has a corresponding psychological symbol that are called bestial desires. Bestial desires. Audrey repeated the words silently as she maintained her dignified posture. She cast her gaze even further. Eat spicy, bulldog. Get down, Mr. President. Get down. Among the pedestrians, I'll look into that, unknown. Thank you. Wait, spicy? That sounds bad. Among the pedestrians, there were werewolves, as well as walking upright bears. There were cats with lazy expressions, and there was a strange man with face on the spot of a spotted spider, a huge mouse with red eyes, a python with its tongue sticking out, and a canine creature that studied every creature that passed by it with eyes filled with desire to mate. They were either wearing a top hat and trench coat or exquisite and complicated long dark dresses, doing their best to imitate humans in every detail, but they were unable to truly resemble a human. Huh. The carriage traveled through the darkness of the night, traveling between the pedestrians and all kinds of Gothic buildings. Soon they arrived at the cathedral in the middle of the city. The cathedral was more than 8 meters tall, propped up thanks to the numerous black columns. Each pillar was embedded with a certain number of skulls. Some of them came from humans, while others came from different creatures. However, their empty eye sockets were tilted downwards as though they were observing at every living creature that entered the cathedral. Just like most buildings here, every detail in the cathedral could be said to be exquisite, but they formed the elements that leaned towards the nightmare, horror, terror, and mystery. After getting off the carriage, Audrey saw a grand but empty hall through the main door. In the depths of the hall stood a huge cross. Curled around the cross was a grayish-white dragon statue. Unlike the ordinary cathedrals, there were no pews for believers to pray, nor were there places for candle stands. However, in front of the dragon statue, there was a small, long table. On both sides of the long table were 5 seats, and the seats at both ends were empty. Paulo DeRaulu wheeled himself to the end of the long table where the seat of honor was. Then he pointed to his hat. "Please take a seat." Audrey slowly followed behind him. She looked around and casually pulled out a chair before sitting down. She wasn't too close to the president of Psychology Alchemist, nor was she too far away. She perfectly showed her vigilance and didn't show any signs of guilt. Paulo DeRaulu raised his hands and clasped them together before placing them on the surface of the long table. "Miss Audrey, I have something to ask. Please speak." Audrey turned her head slightly and responded with her green eyes. DeRaulu nodded slightly and said, "I would like to know how you advanced the sequence for a manipulator. Where did you get your potion formula beyond the characteristics?" Shh, don't ask, bro. Audrey replied frankly, it was from a deal. A client wished to receive the help of a spectator demigod and had to pay the manipulator potion formula and beyond characteristics and advanced. Daralu immediately left. That actually happened. These generous conditions resembled a father finding an excuse to give his daughter president. Can you tell me exactly what kind of help you provided? Kill another demigod. In this matter, control of one's mind was rather crucial. Audrey simply explained. Her attitude was very calm, as if she was... That's crazy. What was the what was the condition? Kill another demigod. Damn, dude, she's gotten so fucking strong, man. It is impressive, like, how much she has, like, leveled up when it comes to scaling, dude. It is crazy. Her attitude was very calm, as if she was talking about the homework given to her by a teacher. Daralu's long and fluffy eyebrows twitched as he said, and you succeeded. The results are obvious enough. Damn! Audrey gave an answer rather tactfully. Daralu sized her up and realized that the noble girl on his left was a manipulator who could kill other demigods. Audrey read his thoughts and added, I was just one of the participants. Daralu nodded and said, do you know where the client's manipulator potion formula and beyond characteristics came from? He didn't tell me straight. With regards to the question, Audrey gave an answer with a sentence she had long planned out. Can you tell me who he is? Daralu asked after some deliberation. Audrey Solo's your favorite verse, Rios? It's like, unironically, I don't know if you said that half jokingly or half bait, Milosh, but like, there's a lot of characters, especially a spectator, dude. Like, you wouldn't even be able to like catch them off guard at one point. It's like, it's kind of crazy. Like, she'd be able to catch you, like, no matter how much you prep. You know, the whole thing, like if Batman prepares, he can beat anybody. Like, I don't even think Batman will be able to get Audrey, bro. Like, because Audrey would just instantly, and then he catches him off guard. It's crazy. Audrey had been guarding against the other party's virtual persona from infiltrating her mind island. However, she had yet to notice anything abnormal since the beginning. This made her suspect that the other party didn't need to infiltrate her mind. All he needed to do was observe the fluctuations of the surrounding sea of the collective subconscious to understand her true thoughts. Oh, like, you don't even have to attack. What the fuck? My guy straight taking my volume 6 and 7 thumbnails. Hey. What are you talking about, bro? Never have I ever, Wiz. How'd you know? She didn't make any attempts to hide and calmly replied, this concerns any agreement between us. I believe honoring one's promise is a moral standard that the entire world approves of us, and in mysticism, this comes into play at a deeper level. Having said that, Audrey took the initiative to say, if you can't really trust me because of my inability to mention this, I'm willing to accept this. I can only remain an ordinary member and use my contributions in exchange for the psychological research materials that are available to me. Daralu smiled when he heard that. Everyone has their own secrets. This is very normal. What I need to assess is whether your secret will affect the safety of the entire psychology alchemist. He looked deeply at Audrey and said, then can you tell me how you got to know such a client? I remember that I once reported that before joining the psychology alchemist, I'd already come into contact with some people in a mysticism circle and got to know a few beyonders. Audrey said in truth that couldn't be any truer. As for what the real logical order to that answer was, it was another matter. Oh, that's smart. Furthermore, the matter regarding Ivan Rambus' disappearance, which stemmed from the investigation of Forge and Shield, was something both parties had never talked about, but had definitely acknowledged. Daralu retracted his hands from the table and placed them by his chest. There's another thing I would like to ask. When was the last time you met Ivan Rambus? Audrey frowned slightly and said, I remember that I've been asked before. After Ivan Rambus' death, she didn't immediately cut off any contact with the psychology alchemist. She continued to maintain a certain connection with the upper echelons through Hybert, Stefan, and Escalante. Only when the war reached Backland did she realize that she couldn't contact the members of the psychology alchemist for various reasons. I need to confirm it in person, Daralu said calmly. Oh, this is bad. Wait, if he sees something... Audrey nodded gently and said, the last time I met Ivan Rambus was in Viscount Glance Mansion. At that time, I hypnotized my two Beyonder friends I knew, asked per his instructions, and asked them why they were investigating Viscount Stratford and who was the mastermind behind this. At the time, Councilor Ivan Rambus was nearby, ensuring that nothing went wrong with hypnotism. After he received the answer, he quickly left. After that day, I never saw him again. As she answered, Audrey was still guarding against the invasion of her mind island. It's crazy. However, it was calm there and nothing happened. The stalling scholar strikes again. This didn't make Audrey feel relaxed. Instead, she became even more worried. She didn't even dare to think about anything related to Mr. Fool and the world German Sparrow. She was only certain of one thing. As long as she was exposed to danger, Mr. Fool would definitely provide her with protection. It's identical to your previous answer, Daralu nodded slowly. So everything matched up. We're chill. He then looked into Audrey's green eyes and said, frankly, I can't use mysticism methods to trace the origins of the bionic characteristics in your body. This means that the person who provided it has an unimaginable existence behind him. Ooh, so now even the fucking president, he's like, do not fuck with Audrey, otherwise the entire guild is screwed. Or like the entire psychology alchemist is screwed. Like we do not, if we mess around with Audrey, it's fucking GG. Audrey nodded slightly but forcefully, expressing that she agreed with his assessment. I can't force you to not cooperate with other Beyonders or make deals. It's unrealistic. I just hope that you can promise not to reveal anything about psychology alchemist to anyone. At the very least, when you wish to entrust certain missions to others, you have to package them and hide the secrets. Daralu said calmly as he retracted his gaze. Yeah, he's calmly. He's fucking stressing out over here. Audrey replied without any hesitation, I promise not to tell any living creature that this isn't qualified to know about the matters regarding the psychology alchemist. She took the initiative to amplify the concept all the way to that of a living being to make up for any loopholes in her promise. As soon as she finished speaking, she felt her thoughts surface from her mind island. These thoughts intertwined, turning into an illusory net that seeped into Audrey's mind island, turning into her subconscious. I'm sorry, if she said humans... If she tossed Klein, would she then realize like, oh shit, the fool is a human? As this restriction net came from Audrey's spirituality, she would be incapable of removing it even if she became an angel. She would lose the intention of talking about the psychology alchemists when she faced non-members of the psychology alchemists or people who didn't qualify. Oh wait, people who didn't qualify to know about them. When he would qualify. And she wouldn't realize this. He didn't invade my spiritual island. Just my words alone made the promise turning something substantial. While Audrey was alarmed, her expression didn't show. Of course, she didn't completely restrain herself, as being surprised by such means was an instinctive reaction from a manipulator. Based on this point, she suspected that either there was something wrong with the city that existed in her heart, or that Daralu, the psychology alchemist president, wasn't at the level of a saint. Seeing Audrey make her promise, Daralu pointed at the long table in a satisfaction and said, from now on, you are a counselor. Ooh, she's a counselor. What the fuck? From now on, you are a counselor of the psychology alchemist. You can choose a persona mask as your codename. What would her codename be? It has to be something related to clown or like the fool. As he spoke, 7 grayish white masks appear on the long table. Wait, hold up. I think I see quotes down there. I want to read it yet. They were rather illusionary and abnormal cold. 5 of them were placed in front of the corresponding seats as though they already had a master. The remaining 2 personas masks are Rafe. Oh, Pride. Duh. The remaining 2 personas masks are Raph and Pride. They're all introduced. They come from the Holy Bible of the creator of the Third Epoch. Audrey thought for a second before reaching out her hand to the mask that didn't contain any anger. I choose Pride. Daralu looked at her and chuckled. That was a choice Haven Rambus made back then. She fucking took Haven Rambus's position as Pride. Get the oh wait. I'm sorry. So are there 7 for like the 7 sins? Pride and wrath, right? Oh, so there's like gluttony, oh, lust. Oh, that is so interesting. There's a lot of potential here for book 2. Oh shit, 7 counselors. 7 counselors, 1 for every sin. Oh, that is so cool. Chapter 1318 is called 7 counselors. Man, you guys are funny. Audrey's right hand paused for a moment before returning to normal. She picked up the mask known as Pride. At 50% chance isn't low, she replied to Paulo Daralu simply. This was to say that picking the mask of Haven Rambus has worn before wasn't a surprising coincidence. I think not. With that said, Audrey wore the cold gray mask on her face. Almost instantly, she felt that she had an additional virtual persona that had appeared in her mind island. This didn't stem from the outside world, but rather a magnification of what she knew to the extremes. They received the very little education they had to make the right choice under my guidance. Not everyone has enough intelligence. On the contrary, most people are very stupid. Those workers are impulsive and irrational. They are easily enticed by tiny perks and have no foresight. Only with me thinking for them, guiding them, and making decisions for them can they be saved. They are worthy of pity, but they aren't worthy of communicating with. Whoa. These thoughts echoed in Audrey's mind, almost making her believe that this was the truth. After all, there was a partial feedback she had received from her previous observation experience. It wasn't something that had been fabricated out of thin air. With a sweep of her gaze, Audrey saw herself from the smooth surface of the long table. On the cold gray mask, her eyes moved upwards, fixing it to her forehead as though she could only see things high above without a care about anything else. It was funny, strange, and secretly horrifying. Audrey fell silent. A few seconds later, she said in a deep voice, "Is this Pride?" If it wasn't for the fact that she had long escaped her misconceptions through the exchange between Mr. World, Mr. Hangman, and Mam Hermit, she might have been truly affected by Pride's persona. As for what would happen after being affected, she couldn't tell. You recovered much faster than I expected. It looks like you haven't lost yourself in the experience of manipulating others, Doralu said approvingly. Audrey replied thoughtfully, Mr. Ivan Rambus has always appeared a little proud. Doralu clasped his hands at his chest and said, you could tell, only occasionally, some details. Audrey replied in 2 short sentences. I'm sorry, Ivan Rambus was trying to, like, coerce Audrey, right? Or like manipulate her into marrying a noble and then like reveal all of her dad's plans, right? Doralu, I remember that. I vaguely remember that still. Doralu sighed and shook his head with a smile. This mask's influence... Oh, I skipped too much. This mask's influence on Ivan Rambus was worse than I expected. Besides, he usually put on a very good disguise. Under this premise, I don't find it strange that he has gone missing. His arrogance will make it impossible for him to see the path beneath his feet. It will make him look down on the Beyonders who are weaker than him, and this will often bring greater danger. Audrey resisted the urge to recall Ivan Rambus' death and asked in deliberation, these 7 personalities can amplify the corresponding knowledge and emotions to help us realize our own problems, so that we can deal with them directly. At the same time, they will also bring some negative effects and unknowingly change its wearer's personality. Doralu nodded slightly. In the mind domain, it's very difficult to obtain external help that's pure and without danger. One has to have enough internal strength to avoid the corresponding negative effects. You have walked the right path for you to realize this. Audrey was just about to take the opportunity to discuss some questions about the mind domain when she suddenly saw a mask on the table disappear. She subconsciously turned her head and looked at the entrance of the cathedral. She saw a figure walk through the door. This figure was wearing a 3-piece formal suit and had a half-top hat in his hand. He wore the mask that had disappeared earlier on. The mouth on the mask was open wide until it reached close to the ears. Its mouth remained open as if it was a swallow everything that its eyes could see. This is one of the counselors of the Psychology Alchemist, Mr. Gluttony. Ah, I see why the mouth was open, Mr. Gluttony. Doralu did the entrance. Oh shit, I'm sorry. And Audrey's original preview for season 1, there's a lot of masks. And that never happened in volume 1 Clown. So I wonder if that was like subtle foreshadowing of her becoming a counselor, right? With all the masks. Was that like a reference to this? All the masks in Audrey's PV from like a year ago or from earlier this year? That is crazy. Mr. Gutley and Doralu did the introductions. Following that, the remaining counselors of the Psychological Alchemist arrived one after another. They were Mr. Lust, Ma'am Greed, Miss Sloth, and Mr. Envy. As a senior spectator, Audrey was the first to notice the difference in the masks. Greed was similar to Gluttony. Her mouth reached her earlobes, but it wasn't open. Furthermore, her eyes were closed. Oh, that's trippy. Lust was similar to Pride, but its eyes were different from ordinary people. They had sunk to the middle of their nose. I'm sorry, man. My nose is so stuffy. It's kind of hard to read it right now. Hopefully it'll clear up right now. I might make tea right now in the middle of our read through. As though they were looking at people from the bottom. Oh, bad. And the mind domain, it was very difficult to obtain external help that's pure and without danger. One has to have enough internal strength to avoid the corresponding negative effects. You have walked the right path for you to realize this. Audrey was just about to take the opportunity to discuss some questions about the mind domain when she suddenly saw a mask on the table disappear. She subconsciously turned her head and looked at the entrance of the cathedral. She saw a figure walk in through the door. This figure was wearing a 3-piece formal wear suit, and he had a half-top hat in his hand. He wore the mask that had disappeared earlier on. The mouth on the mask was open wide until it reached close to the ears. Its mouth remained open as if it wanted to swallow everything that its eyes could see. This is one of the counselors of the Psychology Alchemist, Mr. Gluttony. Doralu did the introductions. Following that, the remaining counselors of Psychology Alchemists arrived one after another. They were Mr. Lust, Ma'am Greed, Miss Sloth, and Mr. Envy. I'm reading this, sorry. It was a time loop, by the way, just because, you know, stuffy, slightly sick. Just rereading it just to kind of get the gist. As a senior spectator, Audrey was the first to notice the differences in their masks. Greed was similar to Gluttony. Her mouth reached her earlobes, but it wasn't open. Furthermore, her eyes were closed. Lust was similar to Pride, but its eyes were different from ordinary people. They had sunk to the middle of their noses and thought they were looking at people from the bottom. Envy's eyes, ears, nose, and mouth were slightly slanted and had a gloomy temperament. Sloth's eyes were tightly shut and his mouth was naturally dropping, giving off the feeling that the wearer was sleeping. Seeing that all the counselors present, Doralu smiled and said, "Let's wait for another friend. He will be the 7th counselor." 8, I forgot to count myself. Just as he said that, oh, so counting the president. Okay. Just as he said that, a figure entered the cathedral's main door. The figure wore a shirt, vest, a black trench coat, and a half-top hat. At a glance, it was a rather fashionable gentleman. He's wearing a monocle. However, after some observations, Audrey realized that there was a huge rabbit under the human clothes. Its eyes were bright red and its fur was snow white. The rabbit walked inside one step at a time and stopped at the side of the long table. It happened to be beside Audrey. Unfortunately, you only have one choice. Duralu smiled as he pointed at the Raph mask on the table. The rabbit let out a male human voice. I've always been very gentle. It's a good opportunity for me to experience Raph. As it spoke, it picked up the persona mask and wore it on its face. The mask's eyes were wide and its mouth was wide open, as though an angry roar would shout out at any moment. After Mr. Raph sat down beside Audrey, Duralu clasped his hands and said, I formally introduce the two counselors who will be joining our council. This is Miss Pride, this is Mr. Raph. They are both demigods and have deep attainments in the domain of the mind. In addition, Miss Pride will be in charge of the greater backland area of the Lowing Kingdom. Upon seeing that, Duralu looked at Audrey and said, you might not be aware, but we are rooted in the masses of psychologists, psychologists, psychiatrists, and the corresponding aficionados. Our strength is mainly concealed in large cities and not small cities and villages. Therefore, every counselor is responsible for city and the surrounding areas. Then Duralu continued, Mr. Raph is in charge of Lenberg, capital Azashara? I'll remember the rabbit. I'll remember the rabbit. It's white rabbit with red eyes. How can I forget that? Mr. Lust is in charge of the Intis capital Trier. Ma'am Greed is in charge of the Facet capital of St. Millum. Miss Sloth is in charge of the Fainapotter capital, Fainapotter City. Mr. Envy is in charge of Intis Republic's Tilisi City. Mr. Gluttony is in charge of the Lowing Kingdom's Constant City. Then that leaves Audrey for Backland. After the introduction, Duralu added, our Psychology Alchemist mission is the exploration, discovery, and research. We do not care about the affecting the scope, members, numbers, resources, etc. Therefore, we do not have any counselors in the Fog Sea, the Berserk Sea, the Sonia Sea, and the Southern Continent. Of course, there will often be members who go out of the sea to explore the ruins of the Southern Continent in search of ancient history. I forgot that I'm the king of the Black Throne of the Five Seas. I'm the king of the Black Throne of the Five Seas. St. Millum, Constant, Tilisi, nearly half the counselors, psychology alchemists are in the Mitzir Shar region. Audrey acutely sensed a problem. She came from a noble family and she received good education since she was young. She was no stranger to the geographical location of every city in the northern continent. She knew that the Phase 6 St. Millum, Loans, Constant, and Intisis Tilsi were big coastal cities of Mitzir Shire. Although they couldn't compare to the three major cities of Backland, Trier, and Fainapotter City, each of them was quite large. Furthermore, there were many medium-sized cities around them. This made the Mitzir coast become the most vibrant economic zone in the northern continent, an area with the biggest population. Under such circumstances, it wasn't too surprising that the focus of Psychology Alchemist was placed on the Mitzir Shire. Audrey generally didn't think about the Psychology Alchemists weren't too interested in expansion. After I'm joking. So don't reveal. Oh wait, hold on. Oh, I'll think about it right now. I do remember seeing a rabbit. Didn't we turn a mountain into a giant rabbit? I don't know if there's a connection there. During the chaos in that one chapter. Was it Volume 3, Volume 4? After the counselors got to know each other, Duralu turned his head and said to Audrey, Miss Pride, due to the war, Backland Psychology and Alchemists suffered great losses. We have lost contact with many members. I will give you. You can give me hints, and I don't think I'll be able to pick up on it. A specific list in the future, you will be in charge of confirming the whereabouts of the members and organize them again. But we'll think about it. In this process, I suggest that you don't use your real image and name to finish the tasks. Create a virtual identity to complete them. Having Rambus didn't do well in this aspect. I think he's a little too proud. A little too proud. Audrey nodded slightly and agreed. Duralu retracted his gaze and said, the second thing to discuss today is the whereabouts of the Mind Dragon in the East Chester County of the Lowing Kingdom. The dragon worshipping customs of the Larka village haven't been weakened in the past 2 years. I suspect that the Mind Dragon is still influencing it in some way. Perhaps we can use it to find its whereabouts. Who is willing to handle this matter? After raising the question, he recalled that the newly joined Miss Pride and Mr. Raph didn't have enough knowledge of the corresponding situation. He simply explained that the exploration Psychology Alchemist had previously done, as well as the problems that his entire archaeological team members encountered. Audrey had accurately participated in some matters in the early stages. Not that she had a substantial reason to intervene, she couldn't help but feel her heart palpitate. It wasn't that she really wanted to hunt the mind dragon, but rather she wanted to communicate with it and grasp more knowledge of the secrets of the mind domain. However, she wasn't in a hurry to raise her hand. As the counselor participating in the council for the first time, she would rather miss the opportunity than be a beggar to showcase herself. This is the low one's matter. It's not substantial for us to interfere. Mr. Lust surveyed the area and said, unless Miss Pride and Mr. Gluttony don't have the time for it. Audrey waited for a few more seconds. Seeing that Gluttony didn't say anything, she looked at Geraldo and said, I will try to investigate, but I need more detailed information. You guys are taking the fun out of Lord of the Mysteries. Wait, we're reading Lord of the Mysteries, okay? We're not reading Lord of the Known, you know? It's, oh, you see what I did there? Known, unknown, known viewer, unknown viewer. That was a good reference. Long story short, after discussing it, the rabbit was the friends we made along the way. That is true. Chapter 1319, brothers and sisters. The white rabbit was the friends we made along the way. Oh my god, what movie did I watch where it's like, follow the white rabbit? Chapter 1319 is called Life Preserving Incantation. The rabbit was a light seeker all along. Holy fucking shit. The white rabbit with the red eyes with the hanged rabbit. The hanged man. Oh shit, wait. Volume 7 is called Hanged Man. I completely forgot what Volume 7 was called. Oh shit. I was thinking about it before stream today. I was like, what the fuck was Volume 7 called again? Oh yeah, Hanged Man. Duh. Chapter 1319 is called a life-preserving incantation. Seeing that Audrey was willing to attempt the investigation mission, Daralu nodded and said, I'll give you the details, information later, but I haven't warned you that this matter is rather dangerous. You must not be careless. Upon saying that, Daralu paused for a moment and said, if you encountered an accident, then you can solve it by relying yourself. You can try to say a name. This will bring you salvation. What name? Audrey asked as she had a guess in her mind. Daralu's expression immediately turned solemn. It comes from the Holy Bible, Adam, of the third epoch's creator. It involves the highest mystery of the mind domain, and it's a close relationship with something of the psychology of alchemists. It's Adam. Holy shit, volume 8 was called The Rabbit all along? You're telling me it's not the Fool? Adam. Audrey didn't find it surprising at all, but she showed her puzzlement on the surface as though she didn't know what this name meant. Daralu didn't explain and instead said, as a counselor, you should be in charge of a grade 1 sealed artifact. However, you and Rav who have just joined the ranks, so there must be observation period first. Besides, the former committee member of the Backland region, Ivan Rambus, has lost a rather important sealed artifact. We are considering whether we should change the usage method of sealed artifacts and allow usage only via an application. In other words, all the sealed artifacts will keep in this mind city. You usually wouldn't hold onto them and can only use them temporarily after an application for particular incidents. The woman in charge of Phase 6 Capital, Saint Millie, shook her head. This is a very serious flaw in this method. This is where we are unable to deal with any sudden accidents, be it enemies or monsters. Once we encounter them, we will not have the time to apply and retrieve the sealed artifacts. I believe that the current method is good enough. Everyone wields a grade 1 sealed artifact to deal with accidents. When there's a need, we can apply for other items. The fact that Audrey's gonna be carrying one around now, that's sick as fuck. Daralu laughed and said, this was indeed better in the past, but now you don't have to worry. As long as you have the chance to resist an accident, then you can directly enter this mind city to avoid the enemy and obtain the item. Just do it directly from right there. What's that? What is that? Is that a rabbit and time? Time. Shadow. Don't worry. We will be resuming Shadow Slave. I know. We're almost done. We're almost done with LTM. We have literally, like, help me out, guys. How many chapters do we have left? Like 60 chapters? What? I'm sorry. What? Are we done in 60? If there's no chance, just as I said, reciting the name Adam will do. You said Adam twice. That entity is probably already watching. No, he might have been watching you from the very beginning. Audrey's heart almost beat faster when she heard of that. Then how do we enter without your invitation? Mr. Envy asked as he nodded. Daralu pointed fucking 70 to 80, 74. No fucking way, dude. That is crazy. I'm actually kind of fucking sad that we're almost done with the series. Daralu pointed at his face and said, from this counselor meeting forth, you can take your persona mask out of the city. No matter where you are, as long as there are at least 2 humans around you, yes, other than you will be able to wear the corresponding persona mask and enter the city. And these 7 masks are illusionary. They are closely connected to what you know, and there's no need to store them in a special way. with just a thought, you will be able to take them out of the sea to collect the subconscious. At that moment, the man who was wearing the gluttony mask and exuded a feeling that he lost in indulgence thought for a while and said, we'll bring the persona mask out of the city, affect our mental state and true personality. There will be some effects that need attention, but I believe that you are all experts in the mind domain. You have the ability to solve problems in this aspect, Duralu said frankly. What? We are running out of time, man. We're almost done with the series. Holy shit. Are you guys gonna forget about me after 73, 74 chapters? You guys better not forget about me. Every time a new LOTM special OVA, Dunghua, anytime anything LOTM comes up, you're gonna be like, remember the good old days when we used to read along with Easy? No, what do you mean yes? You're supposed to say no. Good answer, Clown Man. Just for that, you get mod. Audrey was a little worried that the 7 persona masks had something to do with Adam, but she didn't dare ask about it in the Mind City. She forced herself to rein in her thoughts and replied to what the Duralu had said before. I can accept the 2 safekeeping methods of the Grade 1 sealed artifact. I'll patiently wait for the probationary period to end. Miss, you aren't proud. Miss Slav, who looked like she was sleeping, commented with a smile. After discussing the Mind Dragon, the East Chester County, the other 5 counselors began introducing things that were worth paying attention to in their respective areas as an exchange of information. During this process, Mr. Gluttony, who seems to be capable of eating an entire cow at any moment and wore 10 rings, said, the constant region who hasn't been peacefully recently, there have been many miracles happening one after another. First, Constant City was rebuilt overnight. Second, Bellatane City citizens collectively lost their memories of a certain period of time. Third, a powerful archmage who grants the wishes of others for pleasure had been wandering the eastern shore for the Mitsir Shire. He's called Merlin Hermes. Oh yeah, really? Merlin Hermes? Related to this, there's an item known as the fully automatic wishing machine. Other than that, I also noticed something strange. Many rats, cockroaches, and crows in Constant City have lost their souls day after the city was miraculously restored. Where were you able to sense this problem? Mr. Lust looked up at Gluttony from the bottom. Gluttony gulped and said, I've been researching the mind problem of ordinary creatures recently. Rats, cockroaches, and crows are the experimental subjects. The counselor immediately started discussing the direction of this research before the meeting officially entered the 3rd stage. Their academic exchange enriched Audrey's knowledge quite a bit. She listened very seriously and would occasionally share her thoughts and insights. Alright, this conference will end here. After a while, Duralu clapped his hands. Audrey subconsciously wanted to stand up and lead the other counselors into bowing and bidding farewell. However, she quickly came to her senses and continued sitting there, being the penultimate person to stand up. Before leaving, she asked curiously, Mr. President, does this city have a name? Yes, Duralu laughed. The Garden of Eden. What? Garden of Eden. Audrey saw that the other counselors were walking towards the door and asked thoughtfully, there are many cathedrals here. They should represent a faith. Oh, I wonder which existence the residents here believe in. Duralu nodded and replied solemnly, the omnipotent and omniscient creator. TBH, I watch your streams and videos. I'm just here for the server lore because it's peak fiction. You know it, bro. Hey, man. It is how it is, man. Everybody's here for different reasons. Garden of Eden, man. Yeah, what the fuck? Garden of Eden, the omnipotent and omniscient creator. If this wasn't created by Adam, I'll write my name backwards. Above the gray fog inside the ancient palace, Klein looked at the crimson star representing Miss Justice and silently muttered to himself. In addition, to recite Adam when faced with danger as a response would indicate a problem without concealing anything. Ever since Miss Justice entered the Garden of Eden, the true vision provided by Sephira Castle had been suppressed. Klein could only use Audrey's point of view to observe the surroundings, just like how Queen Mystic burned at fixed viewpoint back on the primitive island. To a certain extent, this also shows the status of the Mind City, Garden of Eden. I am here for Ellie. I'll bring Ellie in right now. She literally wanted to leave the second we started stream, by the way. Like always. Klein, it's like once I start talking, she wakes up and she's like, I'm gonna leave. Klein gently tapped the edge of the long model table and conjured a pen and paper to write his thoughts. This wasn't something he could analyze based on his own thinking. Instead, when facing existence like Adam, he needed to repeatedly ponder and analyze the details. Thus, the words that formed on paper helped him to read back and forth as to notice and make up any missing details. Basic premise: Adam has already advanced to Sequence 0 using the full-scale war from before. By becoming a true god, he can be known as a visionary. Oh. I know the lore. I know more than 10%. I know. Look, we have like different epochs, you know, or Discord lore server. Okay, I know it all. I know most of it. I'm like Adam. I'm always spectating behind the scenes. Okay, that's a lie. Miss Justice happened to become a Sequence 4 manipulator after having Rammus's death. She may be able to convince others, but she can't convince Adam. I don't know. I don't know if she can convince Adam. Yeah, probably not. What does Adam want? Setting up a Sequence 4 Saint doesn't match his identity as a visionary unless he has another ploy up his sleeve. His real target is the Mind Dragon, or is it me who's backing Miss Justice? Care and vigilance must be enhanced on this matter. We must not be careless. In the Garden of Eden, Adam ain't getting convinced. In the Garden of Eden, the cathedral the psychology alchemist counselors were using is similar to Adam's corpse cathedral. However, it's only a little similar. The stone columns on its exterior are inlaid with several skulls. There's no corresponding layout inside, and the color is a dark black and very gloomy. What does this mean? What does the grayish-white dragon coiling around the huge cross symbolize? The first step is resurrecting the creator. What? What does that grayish-white dragon coiling around the huge cross symbolize? The first step in resurrecting the creator has been successful. Adam is already a visionary. If his father or the original creator returns, he would be the very first one to be unlucky. He is willing to sacrifice himself. This is the meaning of me being zealous. That rabbit is suspected to be That rabbit is suspected to be Hermes? However, wait, I'm sorry, like OG Hermes? The one that created ancient Hermes? What? I thought he was dead. Oh! Oh, I was fucking right. I told you. I remember the rabbit that was turned in. You go back in the video. Remember, I fucking said it. I said it. I was half right, half wrong. I said, remember the thing that was turned into a white rabbit? I live, bitch. I live, bitch. I said it. I was like, remember during that Beyonder fight where the person was turned into a white rabbit? I was like, and then I said, and I quote, it was during all that chaos. I was referencing the chapter titled Chaos during the Volume 3 finale. Bro, you are not fully, I was not wrong. I was half wrong. We're gonna go back on the video. Somebody clip it. You guys been clipping a lot. You guys can clip that. I said it. Actually, no, I lied. I said the mountain was turned into a white rabbit. You ain't remember. I remember that. Yeah. Wait. I remember that. Nah. I said mountain. What I meant was Beyonder. I said I was on the right track. I was on the right track, but I came to the wrong conclusion. Ain't no half wrong. You got zero credit. No. I was on the right track. It's like I showed my work in my classwork. I just got the wrong answer. Which mountain, brother? I know that's where I was wrong. Bro, ain't fooling anyone. No. I will go back in the stream after. The rabbit suspected to be Hermes, however, as an angel of spectator pathway. All right. However, as an angel of spectator pathway, it doesn't make sense for him to not be able to remove Miss Messenger's transformation. Curse after so long, especially since he has a visionary who can provide help. Does Adam give zero fucks? I'm not gonna clip it just to spare you from embarrassment. Easy. No, clip it. I said I was on the right track. I came to the wrong conclusion, but I was on the right track. I referenced the Volume 3 fight when it was very chaotic. I referenced it. I referenced like something or someone turned into White Rabbit. I referenced it. I referenced it. I ain't tripping. It's not a skill issue. I referenced it. You know I ain't lying. He has a visionary who can provide help. Did Hermes do it on purpose? Yes. The president of the psychology alchemist, Raulu, mentioned that to the spectator, death only represented the end of one's identity. He can still participate in other theatrical plays and other aspects as another identity. Oh, like Susie. Yes. The Volume 3 finale. That's making Volume 3 fight more chaotic. Was it not the Volume 3 finale? On the island? Yeah. No, of course I'm being serious. What was a chapter called Chaotic? Yes, that was it. Ain't no way. I'm about to pull up those videos. By combining them together, this means that once a spectator pathway reaches sequence 3 or sequence 2, they can separate the identities they once held and make them become living people. And even if these identities were to die, it would lead to the deaths of their real bodies. It does look like the preamble to become a visionary. Volume 5. No way that was that volume 5? What? No. Wasn't that fight in volume 3? Because that was German Sparrow's first volume. What? When they're fighting on the mountain, and then we ran into Sua. You were not right. Reading comprehension double strikes. It did. All right. I'll know to it. Nah. George III apotheosis. The rabbit that Hermes turned into after being cursed was separated as an identity which later directly participated in the psychology of alchemists. What does he want to do? Back then, when the Twilight Hermit Order communicated, he was sitting beside the Emperor. After Klein was done writing, he put down his fountain pen and carefully read the contents. After a few times, his heart concluded with mystery and puzzlement. In the end, he could only decide to continue observing and be vigilant, and at this moment, Audrey had already taken the carriage she used, exited the Garden of Eden, and returned to the park in Emperor's Borough with a man-made lake. She wasn't in a rush to pray to Mr. Fool, hoping that there would be a better way to seal the Pride Mask. She returned to her luxurious villa as though nothing had happened. What? I don't ignore messages. Never have ever. 1320 is called Mind Mail. All right, chapter 1330. That's crazy. There's like 70 chapters left. It's called Mind Mail. Susie was sitting by the door waiting for Audrey to return. At that moment, the golden retriever immediately went. Wow, my heart is beating a little quick. I'll ask the missus if she wants to join for our 1-year stream. I'll let her know. I'll be like, yo, serious question. You want to actually come out on stream this time? I'll be like, you got 1 week to prepare. I'll let her know today. I'll let her know. Did I put 1340? Oh shit, I'm sorry. We're not on 1340. What the fuck, man? Oh my god. I got a little too excited. Good catch, guys. Chapter 1320 is called Mind Mail. Susie was sitting by the door waiting for Audrey to return. At that moment, the golden retriever immediately went up to her as soon as she saw her approach. She even gave a rather talented showcase of her acting by barking and wagging her tail. She didn't ask on the spot. Instead, she kept accompanying Audrey back to her door before asking concerned, "Is it over?" Audrey tearfully acknowledged, indicating that there was no problem. "Is there anything I can help you with?" Susie pressed. "Not you." Audrey shook her head slightly. Due to Susie's concerns, she instinctively recalled her previous experience, but to her surprise, she recalled that she couldn't recall the image and name of the psychology alchemist president. To recall even the information she had learned from the world of German Sparrow, she had to focus quite a bit. To be frank, in front of the Beyonders below the demigod level, she could do similar feats as a manipulator. However, the influence and state of the mind domain makes it impossible for them to sense. It was almost impossible unless the other party was hypnotized, unconscious, or enslaved. That gentleman's level is probably higher than I expected. Audrey controlled her emotions and calmly made a certain judgment. She gave Susie a look and got the golden retriever to stand the guard outside the door, and in her mind, she outlined the character mask that represented pride. Hold up, I need to leave this open right here. That represented pride. Just as she was thinking about it, she felt slight fluctuations in the sea of the collective subconscious around her. With just a thought, Audrey reached out her left hand and grabbed it. She took out an abnormally cold, illusionary, grayish-white mask. As long as I seriously think about it, will the pride mask come to my side, or should I say that it has already existed in my subconsciousness and has been following me? Let me reread this again. Dog Almighty. As long as I seriously think about it, will this pride mask come to my side? Well, it would come out of the collective subconscious, right? Or should I say that it has already existed in my subconscious and has been following me? As Audrey carefully examined her mind island, she signaled with a thought that made the pride mask vanish. just like that. The ice-cold illusionary grayish-white mask quickly turned transparent and melted into the surrounding sea of the collective subconscious. Audrey still couldn't determine where the pride mask had gone. Why did it appear in such a timely manner each time? This made her increasingly wary. She decided to pray to Mr. Fool and make the wish of sealing the mask. Just as she was thinking of doing a few more experiments to obtain more knowledge from pride, she saw the sea of the collective subconscious begin to resonate without using her manipulator beyond her powers. A beam of light came from afar, and it grew larger and more obvious. Finally, it turned into an illusionary letter. This letter stopped in front of Audrey's mind island as though she was searching for a path to complete the delivery. Audrey naturally wouldn't let any foreign objects enter her mind world. She hurriedly reached out her left hand and touched the illusionary letter. Seeing that her fingers were about to touch the surface of the letter, Audrey suddenly stopped. Her experience and intelligence told her at the same time. Wow, this has been so heavily Audrey. This whole read-through so far has been really, like, just focus on Psychology Alchemist, Audrey, and a little bit Adam, Garden of the Eve. Like, we're getting a lot right now. Don't touch anything in mysticism world rashly. This was especially so for the mind domain. Otherwise, it would easily lead to the corruption and produce mental problems. With this in mind, Audrey produced a virtual persona and put on the black long-veiled glove, Hand of Horror. After making the necessary preparations, she reached out to grab the illusionary letter and watched as it peeled away at the outer layers and flipped over one page at a time. This was all the information related to the Mind Dragon in the East Chester County. To use the sea of the collective subconscious to transmit information, the higher-ups suspected her pathway are truly amazing. As a manipulator, Audrey had been trying her best to maintain her initial yearning towards mysticism world. It was pure and innocent pursuit of dreams and magic. This was one of the ways to prevent herself from losing herself in the manipulating experience of things and not be assimilated by the sea of the collective subconscious. After flipping through all the information, Audrey let the illusionary letter melt into the sea of the collective subconscious. She was still in no hurry to pray to Mr. Fool. According to her previous arrangements, she went out to busy over with other things. At dusk, before the banquet at home began, she found some time to quickly make a prayer in her bedroom and make a wish. In the next second, Audrey saw the grayish-white pride appear from the sea collective subconscious in front of her. This illusionary feeling slowly vanished as a tiny amount of metallic luster flashed. For some reason, this persona mask has a certain substantial feeling to it, as though it was boredom between illusionary and realism. This meant that it was isolated from Audrey's mind island in a physical sense. Of course, it also lost the ability to return to the sea of the collective subconscious. Audrey held pride and attempted to remove a lie and that had turned into a emerald necklace overlapping the two together. Good luck reading volume 8. That shit was so confusing. Oh no, don't say that. Oh, that's scary. Now we're gonna do good, bro. Never have we ever been confused reading Ultim. Trust. If the fool, I prayed to the fool, we're gonna understand everything. First try. Just as she had expected, the half illusory, half real pride embedded itself into lie, turning into a blob of patterns that roughly look like a human face. In the future, I'll use the method to carry it with me. I won't allow the persona mask to have any contact with my mind or body until I need to use it. That's a good call. Audrey's mind raced as she sincerely thanked Mr. Vole. She then left the banquet hall. Along the way, she met her father, Earl Hall. Good news, Earl Hall laughed. Audrey didn't hide her surprise. Alfred's coming back. This was her other brother. You actually guessed it. Earl Hall sent a surprise. In the next half of the year, he will return to Backland as a general. He's gonna be a general? Ooh, easy is lying. Does it? Maybe I am using lie. See what I did there? Half a year. Susie is already a dreamwalker. Susie is already a dreamwalker. Audrey thought for a moment and asked, Father, when are we returning to East Chester County? As the war has just ended and there were many things in the kingdom that needed to be done, the nobles didn't return to their respective fiefs during New Year's. They remained in Backland all this time. It was already the end of February. Earl Hall nodded and said, about April. In the ancient palace... Ooh, POV change. You ain't the fool. You are a fool. Hey, that means we are still a fool in some way, shape, or way. That's a win in my book. In the ancient palace above the fog, mind mill. Be careful of the viruses. Don't click on them without thought. As Klein signed, he threw the curtain that represented the intent of the mysteries beyond characteristics back into the junk pile, allowing it to cover all the items there. He had just fulfilled Miss Justice's wish using the grafting ability he named. He connected the illusionary concepts of the persona mask wow, I cannot read. He had just fulfilled Miss Justice's wish using the grafting ability he named. He connected the illusionary concept of the persona mask to an ordinary metal mask, and he gave the worms of spirits who were on duty at Sephira Castle in order to recharge the powers from time to time to prolong the grafting effect. So it's like automatically making it go longer. From the description of Mr. Gluttony from the Psychology of Alchemists, Zeratul seems to have found constancy. I have to be even more careful. Klein tapped the edge of the long model table with his finger, causing worms of spirit to appear from his body. His figure vanished from Sephira Castle, Winter County, Amantha Mountain Range, Cathedral of Serenity. Oh my god, I was about to say Leonard obtained a document from the Pope. This was the first thing he was responsible for after becoming a high-ranking Decon. After returning to his room, Leonard leisurely leaned back and placed his feet on the desk. Then he opened the document in his hand and began reading. A wandering magician, Merlin Hermes, grants the wishes of others for pleasure. The newly rebuilt Constant City fully automatic wishing machine. Sequence 4, the Seer Pathway, is a bizarre sorcerer. Sequence 3 is Scholar of Yore, and Sequence 2 is a Miracle Invoker. Leonard read until he suddenly fell silent. After a few seconds, he suppressed his voice and asked, "Old man, how many angels of Seer Pathway are active across the land?" I don't know, man. Palazar scoffed, "This is acting. There should only be one Miracle Invoker who still needs to act. You should know who I'm talking about." He's like, holy fucking shit. Klein is a goddamn Miracle Invoker. Leonard is like, ain't no fucking way. Palaz, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, ain't no way. Leonard looked at the information in his hand again and mumbled, he's having quite a good time. He has already decided that the main purpose of the mission was to act as a night watcher and digest his potion. He could also travel in passing. Oh, as for handling the matter, what mattered was to find a reasonable explanation. After flipping through the thick documents in boredom, Leonardo retracted his feet and stood up. He was going to retrieve a grade 1 sealed artifact that a high-ranking Daikon like him could own. That's so holy fucking aura is so right. But the final events were conceptual rather than physical. Yeah, I struggle when things get very like conceptual, abstract, and like philosophical. That's why I'm like, whoa. That's when like my brain slows down or shuts off, and like it takes me a lot longer to digest it. I'm telling you, I used to be like one of those. I used to love. I mean, I still love shonen, but I used to only watch shonen, and then I got into like slice of life rom-coms and like others. Then my horizon expanded, and like, oh, okay. But then once I start getting to all this conceptual stuff, especially Ultimate, I'm like, whoa, it's kind of hard to like grasp, but it's fun, man. The other saints of the Church of the Evernight, this was quite a headache. This was because the negative effects of the sealed artifacts weren't easily endured. It was even more so when one needed to carry them for a long period of time. However, if one chose a holy artifact that was more compatible with him, there would be a problem of powers overlapping. As for Leonard, he didn't need to worry about this problem. As long as the sealed artifact he was interested in had a living characteristic, he could get Old Man's help by parasitizing it with a worm of time. It significantly reduced the negative effects of the sealed artifact, making it as obedient as the word of the sea. I forgot about this. Word of the sea. Therefore, the main thing to choose is its powers, Leonardo whispered as he walked out of the room. Oh, I'm so full right now. Hold up. My stomach is like, I feel so full. It's kind of hard to read. Monday afternoon in the ancient palace above the Great Fog, dark red beams shot out, materializing into different figures. Derek hadn't needed to count his heartbeat for a long time. All he needed to do was take a look at the wall clock. Oh, he just looks at the time now. All he needed to do was look at the wall clock and calculate the time difference with Backlund to know how much longer before the Tarot gathering happened. At that moment, he stood up with Mistresses and the other members of the Tarot Club. He bowed to the end of the long bronze table and said, "Good afternoon, Mr. Fool." I find it so cool that he no longer has to count his heartbeats. After taking their seats and paying attention to their respects, Emlyn glanced left and right and said, "I want to know if there's something special about the planter and the moon pathway compared to the other pathways." After raising the question, he didn't hide it and instead added frankly, "I recently learned that the internal system of the Church of Earth is different from the other normal systems. It's splitted into two categories, favored and blessed." After Emlyn finished his simple description, Alger, Catleo, Leonard, and company looked at each other, unable to provide a reasonable explanation. A reasonable development, you would say. Of course, every member present, including Derek, could tell that the internal system of the Church of Earth was abnormal. At this moment, they heard a soft sigh. The sigh seemed to come from an era more ancient than ancient. The keyboard warrior himself, Zomingriri. It came from Mr. Fool, who sat at the end of the long modeled table. The fact that like our era is like, and it's an era that's more ancient than ancient, that is crazy, dude. It's crazy. Like, I'm still digesting that to this day. That is so fucking cool. Chapter 1321. Wait, sorry, that was a joke. I know. I know technically from their point of view, the Western continent. No, I know. That was a joke. I was making a West Coast joke. I am sorry. I was making a West Coast joke. Chapter, like, is Klein gonna come to me? Like, is he heading towards me? No, I'm joking. Chapter 1321 is called the 6 Special Pathways. The full Klein slowly surveyed the area. He didn't provide any explanation to everyone as they had expected. Instead, he reined in his sigh and asked with a smile, where do you think the 22 beyond our pathways? Oh, I almost wrote a bit perfect. No, I was joking. The full Klein slowly surveyed the area. He didn't provide any explanation to everyone as they had expected. Instead, he reined in his thoughts and asked with a smile, where do you think the 22 beyond our pathways originate from? This was one of the 3 most important questions in mysticism, with no consensus for the answer. Every school of thought had its own theory. No one could convince anyone. Cattleya deliberated for a moment before relying. The essence of the world is knowledge, and the essence of knowledge is data. Humans are data, and the bionic characteristics of the 22 pathways are data. All things are a form of data, and this is how it was born. That's a pretty good way to interpret it. That's cool. She has offered the Moses ascetic order theory, but that was not her own point of view. The 7 churches believe that the bionic characteristics originated from the original creator. He transformed into all things, including the deities, human seas, land, and bionic characteristics. Leonard briefly explained, of course, this is an explanation given to decons and above. The official Beyonders below Sequence 6 don't need to know so much. Then he glanced at Emily and said, the Life School of Thought believes that the world is split into 3 levels. I don't remember this. Oh, I do. Sorry, I'm joking. There's the material world, the world of spirit, and the world of absolute rationality. Wait, maybe I don't remember. The world of absolute rationality. Beyond characteristics are the projections of certain things from the world of absolute rationality into the material world and the world of the spirit. Therefore, the characteristics can't be destroyed. It's only reassembles. I do like how in this world, everybody has their own interpretation, which kind of like mimics real life. Like everybody has their own interpretations of things, or like everybody has their own beliefs and ideologies, and I do like how like real it makes this world in Lord of the Mysteries. I love that, man. It's so cool. I love it. From the looks of it, the world of absolute rationality, the Life School of Thoughts promotes, might be referred to the River of Fate. The full Klein thought of Will Ossipton, but he remained silent and didn't interrupt the conversation between the members of the Terror Club. Oh, the Astroworld. Thank you. Emlyn returned a glance at the star and said, as one of the rulers of the second epoch, us Sanguine believe that the bionic characteristics do come from the original creator. Then the various characteristics accumulated and produced the ancient gods that created different races. This was the Sanguine's explanation of the first epoch, and Emlyn already had some doubts about it. After all, he had encountered many seekers thanks to the Terror Club. Olga nodded slightly. Although there are many explanations of the origins of a bionic characteristic, most of them point to the original creator. The Orthodox Church's Aurora Order in the City of Silver shared such a belief. In other words, bionic characteristics originating from the original creator is quite the prevalent understanding. Audrey asked thoughtfully. The psychology alchemists mainly studied the mind world and see the collective subconscious. They lacked complete theories regarding the origins of the bionic characteristics. Roughly, Olga didn't conceal his views. At this moment, the full Klein sighed and said, no, not at all. He didn't proceed on to give a long story, but gave a rather vague answer. Not all of them. Mr. Full means that bionic characteristics indeed originates from the original creator, but not all of them. A small number of them are special cases. Is this the reason for the specialness of the planter and the moon pathway? Olga instantly thought of a lot and grasped the essence of the problem. As it had nothing to do with her, Force continued listening leisurely. At this moment, she asked curiously, Honorable Mr. Fool, your meaning seems to be the most bionic characteristics originated from the original creator, and the 2 pathways such as planter and moon are the exception. Then where did they come from? Here we go. Does everybody know the answer? Would the outer deities, the great ones, the cosmos, space, the final frontier qualify as an answer, or will he reveal that? I feel like I should hide the bottom. Yes. I feel like I should hide the bottom. I wonder how they're going to fucking react. Then where did it come from? The fool Klein said simply, he does say it. The full client said simply, the cosmos. Cosmos? You're like, what the fuck? Emlyn was alarmed when he heard that. He realized that the matter might be more serious than he had imagined. They came from the cuttlefish. Imagine there's a giant cuttlefish flying in space, like the fucking flying whale in fucking Death Stranding and the logo and shit. The entire club had already shared the danger of the underground corruption and the chaos. All of the members knew that these two concepts led to the corruption simply from understanding it. When Audrey, Katlia, and company looked at each other, the full clan maintained his hint of a sigh and added, not just these two. He and the 7 Lives have always maintained their contact and had already confirmed that the 6 of the 22 Beyonder pathways belong to outer deities. Honorable Mr. Full, what other pathways came from the cosmos? Audrey, what the fuck? Audrey habitually raised her hand and asked curiously and warily. Everybody, they're putting on their tinfoil hats right now. The full clan replied succinctly, prisoner, you know what I'm noticing? My brother has not lampooned. I have not heard like client lampoons. Now it's the full client replied succinctly. Prisoner, criminal, lawyer, and arbiter. The first 2 came from the mother tree of desire, and the latter 2, along with the nation of disorder, came from the sons of chaos. Chaos gave birth to order, and order came with its own shadow. Arbiter. Force turned her head in surprise and glanced at Shield. She's like, oh, we're screwed. She had just thought of this matter, had nothing to do with her. She could only watch and not worry about it. Who knew the trouble was right at her doorstep? Yeah, it's like, we're fucking screwed, dude. Shield frowned slightly and looked at the end of the long bronze table. Honorable Mr. Full, I usually don't sense any abnormalities, nor have I received any divine epiphanies other than those from you. The full client smiled and said, the arbiter and lawyer are relatively better. According to his understanding, the influence of the Son of Chaos had on both the arbiter and the lawyer pathway wasn't deep. It was incomparable to the mother goddess of depravity influence of the moon and planter pathway, and the mother tree of desire influences of the criminal and prisoner pathways. This outer deity has gone silent as though he had disappeared. Force and Shield secretly heaved a sigh of relief. You're like, okay, we're good. Yeah, Easy Geeky saw it, Hopeland done. Force and Shield secretly heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, they became more worried of the future. With Mr. Full not explaining further, Emlyn composed himself and said, the uniqueness of the planter pathway comes from the cosmos. The divine epiphanies I sense are likely a form of corruption. Olger looked at Mr. Full at the end of the long model table. Seeing that he has no intention of speaking, he nodded and said, probably so. This is a test for me. Emlyn sighed and said, I've already grasped the names of the high sequence potions of the planter and the moon pathway. I've somewhat puzzled about the 2 items. After becoming a Sanguine Earl and a high-ranking deck under the Church of Earth, he obtained the corresponding clearance to access plenty of information that had never been... The fuck did I just say? He obtained the corresponding clearance to access plenty of information that he had never been able to. Seeing that the other members of the Terror Club look over the world, Gurmansborough raised his hand to pinch his chin. Emlyn thought and said, the moon pathway is as follows. Sequence 3, High Summoner. Sequence 2, Life Giver. Sequence 1, Beauty Goddess. I forgot this. Wait, is this new? Sequence 1 was Beauty Goddess. The planter pathway is as follows. Sequence 3, Pal Bearer. Sequence 2, Desolate Matriarch. Sequence 1, Nature Walker. What I don't understand is the names of these 2 potions, Beauty Goddess and Desolate Matriarch. I'm sorry, wait a fucking second. Is Emlyn gonna be a woman? Oh shit! Is he gonna turn? Is he going to be a? Is he turning into a Sheen? Femlin? I see what you did there. Emlyn, more like Femlin. Fucking would. Have certain gender inclinations. What are your thoughts on this? Oh shit, he gonna switch, huh? He's like, oh hell no. For a moment, no one from the Terror Club spoke. They looked at each other and thought of a possibility. A few seconds later, Audrey controlled her gaze and said in deliberation, I remember the sequence 7 of the assassin pathway is called Witch. I wonder what fucking his reaction. What is Emlyn gonna be like? He's like, oh hell no. It's called Witch. Assassins who consume this potion become witches. This This is a test. This is a test for me. Emlyn's lips moved slightly, unable to say a word. No fucking way. Yes, dude. Dude, Emlin's already a fucking 10 out of 10 out of 10, bro. He's already a Giga Chad. He's just gonna be even more beautiful and flamboyant. It's gonna be amazing. I'm so excited for this. This is a test for me. Emlin's lips move slightly, unable to say a word. This is a test. When he learned the name of the potions, he had already started in premonition, but he wasn't willing to accept it. Oh, this is so book 2. COY. Oh, he's gonna be a matriarch. Or, oh my god, I am excited for the Femlin reveal. I am excited for the Femlin reveal. Easiest, dude. Can you guys? I'm not telling you to send me COI spoilers, but if there is any artwork on what a potential Femlin would look like, send it my way. But he wasn't willing to accept it. I feel like that'd be interesting artwork to look at. Oh, you can send that. That's not a spoiler, by the way, sending that, because it's already been revealed that he will accept that. Just how we've seen, I've seen a lot of, for some reason, I've seen a lot of Jenner Benamon artwork on my feed. But he wasn't willing to accept it. He hoped that he could obtain another explanation for the Terror Club. Don't worry, you have a low chance of becoming an angel. Even if you can, you won't have the chance to be a beauty goddess. Klein mumbled inwardly, but he didn't say any words of comfort. Emlyn fell silent. Leonard coughed and took the initiative to say, I'll share some other materials. He spoke at a moderate pace regarding Merlin Hermes, rebuilding the constant city overnight, and the fully automatic wishing machine. As he spoke, he shot a glance at the world Grimminsboro. The corner of Klein's mouth twitched as he made the world Grimminsboro look ahead, all be leaving the eastern coast of Mitsirshire. These were all done by Mr. World. Can he already have created such miracles? As expected of an angel, him, Audrey recalled the information psychology alchemist counselor Mr. Gluttony had shared. She was both surprised and impressed. She didn't use her spectator powers to conceal her reaction. This is because everyone had expressed the same emotions except for Mr. Star, who clearly knew about it. Merlin Hermes, wandering magician. Forrest noted that name deep down and secretly decided to distance herself from the name wherever she heard it in the future. This didn't mean she was still afraid of Grimminsboro, but she knew something. It definitely wasn't safe around Grimminsboro. Something would always be happening in some way or another, true? Of course, as instinctive senses of fear were inevitable, it was just like how a seed of fear sowed when one was young would remain even when one became an adult. Granting wishes for pleasure, fully automatic wishing machine. Is this the world Grimminsboro acting? Olga and Ketlia had similar thoughts simultaneously flashing through their minds. Then they thought of something. Ever since some time ago, Mr. Fool had made everyone pray to him in the form of a wish before granting them. He is helping the world digest the potions, or is it that he and the world are from the same pathway? Oof, that is crazy. After he awoke, he also exhibits similar characteristics. Little Sun said before Mr. Fool's actions were a miracle, allowing the city residents to directly move to the forsaken lands of the gods, to the outside of Bayham City. With the fact that the world Grimminsboro is still acting, this shouldn't be something he can do. Olga nodded indistinctively as he made a guess about the pathway Mr. Fool was in. I'm sorry, do they not know? Do they not know his pathway yet? Oh wait, they wouldn't even know they wouldn't even know the word the fool. Wait, no, hold up, I lied. Yeah, no, they wouldn't. They don't. Yeah, I'm sorry. No. No, just guesses. It's just yeah, it's all been speculations up until this point. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, it's not like Mr. was like, I am a sequence 0 fool. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, never mind. Yeah. No, he doesn't show any powers really. Yeah, you're right. It's always been speculation, right? Yeah, and they're too scared to ask. About to leave the eastern coast of Mitsirshire, then my investigation will be even easier. I just came up with a simple conclusion. At most, I can just directly report that Grimminsboro has become a miracle invoker and is acting anyway. The people who should know are already aware. Leonard mumbled silently and didn't ask further. At this moment, the world Grimminsboro looked around and asked, what do you know about the king of the Black Throne, Burroughs Hopkins? Oh, wow, that was a quick chapter. Chapter 13. 22 is called Hold Off on Something Unresolvable. Unresolvable? Damn. Upon hearing the world Grimminsboro's question, the other members of the Terror Club had 3 reactions. Who is that? I seem to have heard of him. He's one of our 4 kings. Who is that? Why haven't I heard of him before? Oh, I forgot to ask about the psychology alchemist. I was planning on using a more tactful method to seek some suggestions. The first reaction came from Olga, Ketli, and Force, who had lived at the sea for a period of time. The second reaction came from Limburg, Emlyn, Shio, and Derek. The third reaction belonged to Audrey alone. Getting no answers, the world Grimace didn't ask any further. His main goal was to use this as a reminder for Miss Justice to bring up the matter for discussion in a way that could bypass the promise she made. Of course, if Miss Justice were to seek help from Mr. Full, Clang would also use grafting to temporarily connect the bindings formed from her subconscious to a paper figurine, providing her with a period of time that she could freely recount things. This was also a high-level application of paper figurine substitutes. With Klein's current level, he could easily do it within Sephir Castle. If he were in the real world, he would have to rely on the worm's spirit above the Grey Fog to control the curtain and provide responses. At that moment, Audrey thought for a moment and said, "Do you still remember that I once pursued the whereabouts of a mine dragon and went to a place where they had customs of worshipping dragons?" Olger, Ketley, and company nodded. Only Leonard and Shio expressed their lacks of acknowledgments of this matter. As this was an important matter, Force didn't mention it when she first briefed Shio of the general knowledge. After that, she was frightened by an angel of imagination Adam and rarely talked about the secrets shared by the Terror Club in the real world. Audrey deliberated for a moment before continuing. "It's been almost 2 years. A secret organization that doesn't trust me too much suddenly mentioned this matter and has entrusted me with further investigations. They say that it's a form of observation. What motives do they have?" She didn't think of it as a coincidence. Emlyn recovered and laughed. This should be a test. To him, he was still very far away from reaching Sequence 1 Beauty Goddess, and he had no intention of transferring to the planetary pathway. Therefore, he didn't need to worry about the corresponding problems for a long period of time. There was no need to worry too much about it. Emlyn's ability to say the word test shows how much he has improved. Now, of course, this is also becoming the sanguine that has done too many similar things to him. Having to trouble Mr. Hangman into telling him that this is a test, the full client was very satisfied with Emlyn's answers. Now, of course, he didn't believe the answer was correct. He only felt that Emlyn's ability to think up to this level was already pretty remarkable. Audrey said disapprovingly, "I suspect that they have already known that I'm problematic. They even know," okay, a little bit, "they even know where my problem is and which faction is involved. There's also no need to test me further." After leaving the Garden of Eden, she had been thinking a lot. She remembered that Mr. World had once said that the Twilight Hermit Order wanted a war that would sweep the entire world. Based on the current situation, this goal has been achieved in the past year. In other words, the Twilight Hermit Order and Angel Imagination Adam must have used this opportunity to gain quite a number of benefits and experience the corresponding growth. And before that, Mr. Fool informed them that Adam was even closer to the level of a deity. Combining all this information, Audrey had a preliminary judgment that the Angel Imagination Adam had a high chance of already reaching the Divine Throne and becoming a Sequence 0 visionary. Even if he wasn't there yet, he wasn't too far away. If such a deity who wields the mind domain casts his gaze over, Audrey didn't believe that her secret could be hidden. At present, she could only consider herself that the leader of the Twilight Hermit Order, the mastermind behind the psychology alchemists, would place too much importance on a Sequence 4 manipulator. On the other hand, she had made all sorts of preparations to deal with the possible accidents. Perhaps the organization is trying to figure how many members we have in a Terror Club and what their identities are. Emlyn replied with a smile as he continued on his train of thought. Audrey thought for a moment and nodded. That possibility can't be ruled out. As she said this, she shot a glance at the end of the long table, the model table, and realized that Mr. Full was only listening to her leisurely without giving her the correct answer. This made her feel a lot more at ease. At the same time, she suddenly decided that she had to be more careful. She had to be able to resolve the problems herself, having already reached Sequence 4. Like, yeah, man, I can't keep relying on him. It's like, I'm a fucking Sequence 4. It's like, I fucking got this shit, dude. In any Orthodox church or secret organization, Sequence 4 was the strongest person in control of an area. I need you to make me full on mod on Discord so I can send a song for 1335 of the music domain. Oh shit. I got you. Yeah. Okay. At this moment, Olga, who had heard their conversation, proposed a brand new possibility. If that secret organization really doesn't trust you, then it might be an excuse for me to do an observation. Their main goal is to cooperate with the Terror Club and Mr. Fool. He didn't know why Miss Justice didn't mention the psychology alchemist directly. All he could do was carefully go along with her. This is equivalent to becoming an ambassador of the Terror Club to the psychology alchemist. Audrey nodded slightly and said, "That's also possible. Then what should I do next?" Olga thought for a moment and said, "Stall for time. Good idea." Force and Emlyn both expressed their agreement. After Alger gave the overall strategy, he added in detail, tried to stall for time to find an excuse to not go until the final moment. Also, Milosh, I think you can also just, since you're a mod, I think you can also just link videos in chat. Because regular people can't even link, but I think mods are allowed to put links. I think you should be good. I think you're good. He won't lose control. When you arrive there, start investigating from the periphery and use caution as an excuse to slow down your investigation. If you really can't delay any further, you can deliberately make mistakes in certain matters and create some commotion in the Mind Dragon. Can detect it early and eliminate any traces. If that secret organization really has any additional motions, the longer you delay, the more they wouldn't be able to sit still. If they get impatient, they would expose the problem. Kelia nodded. This is the most suitable response for now. I understand. Thank you, everyone. Audrey also felt that Mr. Hangman's suggestion suited her thoughts. However, she didn't delay a certain matter. She merely turned her head and looked at the end of the long mall table. She bowed and said, Honorable Mr. Fool, has Angel Imagination Adam advanced to Sequence 0? Not bad. To be able to be aware of this point, the Fool Klein leaned back in his chair and chuckled. Only with the apocalypse approaching did he finally take the step. The level of the Garden of Eden has virtually confirmed that Adam was definitely a visionary. Angel Imagination Adam has become a god. This news immediately reverberated in Derek and company's mind, leaving their minds in an upheaval for a long time. Indeed, Audrey pursed her lips and expressed her gratitude before asking, what kind of payment do I need to make for this answer? Damn, my plan failed. He's like, shit. He fucking figured me out. The full client surveyed the area and said a smile. There's no need. It's a reminder. After this topic ended, because most of the Terror Club members were still immersed in the impact of Adam becoming a true god, no one spoke for a moment. After a few seconds, Derek looked around and probed. The city of Silver has already plowed the surrounding fields and planted wheat and other crops, but the harvest will still take some time. I wish to know what we can do to earn gold pounds and purchase resources. After the initial aid, the Church of the Sea God and the government of the Roasted Archipelago stopped providing free aid. After all, the financial strength was rather limited. In this situation, the City of Silver and Moon City each sold a batch of Beyonder characteristics and monster hides in exchange for a large amount of suns that could be used to purchase various resources. However, with the entrance to the Forsaken Lands of the Gods closed, they were unable to replenish Beyonder characteristics and monster hides. It was also impossible for the City of Silver and the Moon City to give up their military strength either, selling large amounts of combat resources and wasting their opportunity of nurturing their descendants. I wonder if at one point they become like not like a private military, or like they become like private bodyguards for hire or something. Because of their scale, size, and strength. I wonder. Therefore, once all the gold pounds, gold, and jewelry were used up, they would undoubtedly fall into predicament. For this reason, the 6-member council had been troubled over how to earn gold pounds from the outside world and how to establish a stable financial system. This was a little beyond their capabilities. I feel like that's where they go. Oh shit, chat crashed? On my end or on your end? Okay. For this reason, the 6-member council had been troubled over how to earn gold pounds from the outer world and how to establish a stable financial system. This was a little beyond their capabilities. The Beyonder characteristics that the City of Silver and Moon City had previously sold were mainly purchase of the Sea God and the Roasted Archipelago government. They were used to establish official Beyonder factions under them. After all, the number of Beyonders needed to cause damage and the number of Beyonders needed to stabilize an area was on a completely different level. In addition, the entire Roasted Archipelago only had Sea God Calvatua and the demigod Cardinals of the Church of the Lords of Storms. This was slightly insufficient for a new government, especially since the Church of Storms and the Church of Sea Gods weren't allies. After hearing Little Sun's pleas for help, the other members of the Terror Club began to seriously consider what the City of Silver and Moon City residents could do. Audrey thought for a moment and asked, what are you best at combat? Derek replied without hesitation, yes, you're going to be for hire. Oliver nodded slightly when he heard that. Although the world war has ended, law and order still hasn't been restored in the colonies of the southern continent. It's still very chaotic and the small-scale wars occur from time to time. You can try to form 2 to 3 mercenary teams and be hired by any faction. Oh shit, this is so cool. Cammy has heard us. Did we summon him? Holy shit, we summoned him. Private military contractors. Really? We summoned him? Did our ritual work? Private military contractors. Klein gave an even more modern name to the suggestion. Private military. What the fuck did I just say about private military? Huh? Private military contractors. Klein gave an even more modern name to the suggestion. This is a good idea. Derek's eyes lit up when he heard that. Alger asked again, combat is a survival instinct. Other than this, do you still have anything you want to do? Derek replied in embarrassment. Many people wish to be chefs and brewers as well as hope to work at candy factories. Oh, that is so beautiful. Oh, I'm about to cry. That is so beautiful. Derek replied, no, they shouldn't be embarrassed saying this. Oh, wait, I'm actually tearing up. This is beautiful. Many, not even a few of them, a lot of them want to be chefs, brewers, as well as work in candy factories. Oh, that is so wholesome. I can already envision, bro, book 2 COI. You're gonna see like fucking people from City of Silver working like in a fucking candy shop, or like they're like cooking chefs. Oh man, they're like, imagine one of them opens up, like imagine Derek opens up like a bakery shop, and like all the elder councils are there because they've gone through so much, or like the people of Moonseed are fighting for their fucking lives, bro. And then they like, I can already imagine. And COI, whoever's the new female MC, she like walks into this bakery shop, and then you see like fucking Derek. Oh, here, 2 pounds of rye bread for like 1 pound of gold or something like that. Oh, dude. That'd be the most beautiful thing ever. And then he like looks over and he's like already fucking married or some shit, and he has like a child. Oh, bro. Oh, that'd be so... Oh, don't make me cry. Easy. I'm already crying just thinking about this. Look at this. Oh, dude, man. I am so happy, bro. Even though, like... No, Klein wasn't doing this simply for acting. He genuinely wanted to help Derek and the people, but, like... It was like... It was give and take, right? But it's like... Dude, it's just like they deserve nothing but happiness. Even though they excel at like strength, like even though they're gonna be amazing as like private military org, I wish them nothing but the best, bro. Like I really want them to live like their slice of life arc and fantasy. Like it's so beautiful, man. It's so good. Sign the petition for me being a mod on Discord. Chapter 1223. What happened that day? Only the OGs remember. That we made history that day. What do you mean Blackbeard did nothing wrong? What? What do you mean? Get out of here, bro. Get out of here. What do you mean? He's fucking miserable. I hate that piece of shit. I mean, I need to catch up with... You know what? That's one thing I'm going to catch up on. I'm going to catch up on One Piece. I'm gonna read all of Elbaf once we're done with Old Tim. I'm gonna binge read that because this has been so long since I haven't read One Piece in a year, and I've been just watching the anime. We're finally at that point. But before we get distracted and we go on a side tangent, chapter 1323 is called Development Plan. After hearing the City of Silver citizens' wishes, a thought suddenly surfaced in Klein's mind. Why is everything related to food? Alger thought for a moment and said to Derek, you can make people with such thoughts join the industry association in Bayam. Seek out suitable teachers through the association and directly invite people with specialties in such fields to teach in the new City of Silver and provide generous salaries. Of course, the prerequisite is that you have to get the residents to grasp the language of the roasted archipelago as soon as possible. On this basis, Loannis, Ancient Phasic, and Dutanese have to be taught to. After the hangman finished speaking, the hermit Katlia gave her suggestion. Other than organizing the mercenary teams, you can also try to apply for the civil jobs in various cities of the roasted archipelago to handle the supernatural matters. Although the roasted archipelago government and the Church of the Sea God have obtained a batch of beyonder characteristics and the corresponding potion formulas from the City of Silver and Moon City, they were unable to nurture enough beyonders in a short period of time. Sequence 9 was relatively still alright. The chances of something being selected and for their good mental strength and physique to lose control from the consuming the potion were actually very small. If one were to further advance, acting might not necessarily be successful, and it is also required time. Under such circumstances, as long as the residents of the City of Silver become members of the official faction, they wouldn't be worried about losing their jobs in the future. Of course, the roasted archipelago government would definitely control the number of applications. The City of Silver would be able to completely resolve everyone's employment problems using this routine. Klein agreed with Mam Herman's suggestions. Furthermore, he believed that there was a need for him to give a revelation to the Nits, allowing the roasted archipelago government and the Church of the Sea God to increase the number of official Beyonders to a certain range. This wasn't to help the City Silver residents and the majority of the deformed people in the Moon City to find jobs, but to deal with the impending apocalypse, the deeper corruption of the outer deities, and gradually increasing frequency of supernatural incidents. At that moment, Katlia glanced at Miss Justice and continued speaking to Derek. You should now have a large amount of liquid funds. He has crypto? His funds are, is he liquidating everything? You should now have a large amount of liquid funds. You can try to invest in the mines. Spice plantations? Fuck is this, Dune? The spice melange or whatever? Spice plantations, farms, and purchases fertile land and forests which rain produce with rich produce. They're all very cheap now, yes, although the Church of the Lords of Storms can still influence the archipelago, and although the new government promises to protect local businesses, there are still a large number of people from the low end Fasig and Intis who lack confidences. They wish to cash out and return to their countries as soon as possible. That oracle named the Nits recently bought a spice plantation. Derek recalled what he had heard from before, immediately felt enlightened. Katlia's suggestion gave others inspiration. Audrey immediately added, when negotiating, it's best if you invite some professional lawyers. If not, you'll be fooled easily. Well, if you think there's a need, you can bring along a psyche analyst from the city. Also, you have a medium-sized port that can develop the corresponding economy. While the official Beyonders of the Rocher Archipelago government and the Church of the Sea of God are lacking in generation knowledge, you can set paid classes designated for outsiders in the new City of Silver's Savant schools. Will remove the knowledge that will easily clash with the Orthodox churches. The railway connecting the new City of Silver and the other cities must be built as soon as possible. Derek was taken aback when he heard that. He hurriedly raised his hand and said, sorry, I need to memorize what was just said. I forgot that he has no foundation in economics. Audrey reflected on herself, closed her mouth, and smiled as she signaled for Little Son to seek help from Mr. Full. After Derek conjured a pen and paper and wrote down the previous suggestions, Audrey, Emlyn, the Star Leonard, and the other members of the Terror Club offered their ideas one after another. They also rebuted suggestions that weren't mature or pragmatic enough. This intense scene lasted for nearly half an hour before ending. Derek looked at the adequate thick pieces of paper in front of him and couldn't help but smile. He seemed to have seen the beautiful future of the City of Silver sitting at the end of the long model table. The full client signed for some baffling reason as his heart felt a lot heavier. If one didn't consider how the apocalypse was about a decade away, the discussion would have been pleasing regarding the promising future that awaited the City of Silver. However, the arrival of the apocalypse wouldn't change because of its will of humans. Even saints and angels couldn't do it. Looking away from the paper in front of him, Derek deliberated and said, we have already built the temple and cathedral meant for Mr. Full. We wish to proselytize to various cities in the archipelago. What do we need to pay attention to? Oliver frowned slightly and said, have you written a Holy Bible? Have you designated the order of Mass and prayer details? Yes, Derek nodded heavily. That was based on his knowledge of miracles Mr. Fool had shown, combined with the religious scriptures left behind by the Creator. Furthermore, the City of Silver has also prayed to the Fool, seeking his thoughts on this matter. His attitude was a tacit agreement. As the intel system of the church been set up, Olga continued asking. Derek subconsciously looked at Mr. Full, who was shrouded in layers of grayish-white fog, and turned around. Currently, it's following the internal system of the other churches. The chief of our 6-member council will hold the role of the archbishop, and a number of enthusiastic citizens have been appointed as bishops of the presidents. The City of Silver didn't set up the organization to deal with the Beyonder matters with the church, since most of them were Beyonders, and there were already the corresponding organizations in place previously. Oliver saw that Mr. Fool didn't object nor agree. He controlled his desire to teach and nodded slightly. You can try that out first. He paused for a moment before saying, however, there are 2 things to take note of. First, don't badmouth the other churches, lest there be conflict. Second, it is to respect the current oracle. In the absence of a leader appointed by Mr. Full, the oracle is the representative of a deity. Crazy. I'm sorry. Are we saying the Nits is a representative of a deity? The first believer. This bitch. Third, don't engage in religious harassment during proselytizing. Besides, I have serious doubts about the eloquence of the bishops and the priests of the Church of Silver. I'll need to get the Nits to find professionals to train them. The fool Klein, who was listening quietly, muttered inwardly. He didn't express his opinion of the Holy Bible written by the City Silver because it was a little awkward. But if he objected to a certain descriptions, it would also damage the fool's image. With this in mind, Klein couldn't help but lampoon. Perhaps one day when Will Ossiton reads the Holy Bibles and the Church of the Fool, he would blurt out in surprise, "When did I become an angel under the fool?" Then Leonard's grandpa and the awakened Mr. Zick and Miss Messenger, who had been trying hard to recover, will add, "What? Me too." You know what I find crazy? It's like Klein's org, like the Terror Club, is actually going to be like the most dangerous and strongest organization in COI. Like, ain't no shot, bro. Like, everybody is going to fear the name the Terror Club. Like, bro, it's crazy. These guys, like, the Terror Club is advancing so quickly. Like, everybody is slowly starting to go higher and higher in their own respective organizations. And it's like, dude, they're going to be fucking... Everybody's going to be scared when they see a Terror Club. Like, when they leave their signature killing hint, you know, the little Terror Club in far. Oh, everybody's going to be scared. Like, holy shit, the Terror Club was here. His circle is inevitable. After the conversation regarding the City of Silver, the Moon City came to an end. Cattleya looked around in anticipation and said, "Which of you has a sequence theory beyond your characteristic of the mystery prior pathway?" She had already digested the mythologist potion for quite some time. I'm sorry, when was this? But she had only obtained the potion formula from the Moses Ascetic Order. She was still far from obtaining the beyond her characteristics or the main ingredients. Although she was one of the 10 key members of the Moses Ascetic Order, the corresponding resources became more valuable the higher the sequence. Even an ancient organization wouldn't squander them freely. Furthermore, Cattleya came from the dawn and was less affected by the hidden stage, so she wasn't that trusted in the Moses Ascetic Order. To Cattleya, who had already digested the potion a long time ago, using the Snake of Fate's blood to advance the mythologist, Sequence 3 shouldn't have been a relatively easier stage. However, she was bottlenecked by the ingredients. It might not even be possible for her to obtain one for years or even more than a decade. Bro, hell fucking no. No shot, bro. I might just circle my inevitable. These fucking COI puns is actually kind of funny. Hence, she has no choice but to seek help at the Terror Club. Dara recalled the demigod characteristics of the City of Silver had and slowly shook his head. At that moment, the world Gerbersbro said with a hoarse chuckle, "I suggest you ask Queen Mystica directly." Bernadette had already become a Sequence 2 angel as she had an additional clairvoyant beyond her characteristics, and she could attempt to separate it. Of course, Klein could be certain the sage potion that Queen Mystica consumed contained the previous Sequence 3 and Sequence 4 characteristics. As the Queen, Cattleya got some clues from the world's answer and suspected that something had happened to Queen. Okay, she controlled the urge to ask. Klein continued controlling the world and said to Mam Hermit, "I have a long-term mission. Help me collect information regarding the hidden stage sudden coming back to life." Oh, please! Wait, what? Are we gonna fucking avenge old Neo? Or is this for something else? Wait, hold up. Why? Why do, like, I have not forgotten of this. We have not fucking avenged old Neo. Like, there is no shot we do not avenge old Neo. Like, we have to fucking, we have to take him out. We have to take out the hidden sage in some way, shape, or form, man. Like, it's crazy that this bitch is still walking about. He's still breathing, man. We need to, like, eviscerate him, dude. Two things can be true. Two things can be true. We'll see what two things can be true. Help me collect information regarding the hidden stage's sudden coming back to life. You can raise the corresponding ramurination. Oh, my legs. Hold up. Or you can wait until there's a need in the future. Klein was still puzzled over this matter. Although it could be described as a uniqueness suddenly coming to life, it should have happened a long time ago if it was possible. Cattleya thought for a moment and said, "That wouldn't be an issue." After another round of exchanges, the turret gathering ended and the members returned to the real world. In the captain's cabin of the future, Cattleya nudged the heavy glasses on her nose bridge and thought about how to write the letter to Queen. During this process, she strolled to the window and saw Frank Lee promoting the alcohol-free volcano beer brewed by the sea microorganisms to the crew. So Frank Lee made an alcohol-free volcano beer brewed by sea microorganisms. That sounds badass. He really has the drive. Just as Katlia sighed, she suddenly frowned. At the Terror Club, just now, Mr. Full mentioned that the Planter and the Moon pathway are two rather special pathways. They come from the cosmos, and they are prone to corruption. The divine epithesies they receive are questionable. Frank is a beyonder of the Planter pathway. No wonder he's so fucking crazy. Besides, he once complained that the Church of the Earth Mother didn't understand the true will of the Merciful Mother. Kalia's eyes were blocked by the heavy lenses, narrowed slightly. Oh shit, that was a chapter. That was quick. Oh man, this cough does not help. Whew. Yeah, that's exactly the drink he made. What the fuck did I say? That's exactly the drink he made. Wow, man, I'm slurring my words today. No, I'm okay. I'm telling you, it's like my nose is really stuffy today, but it ain't gonna stop us. Chapter 1,200. Whoa, 1,324. It's called handling. Like, can you guys handle this stream? Or can you guys handle the next read through? Can you guys handle the bonus benefit line? Oh man. Chapter 1324 is called handling. After staring at the deck below, Katlia left the captain's cabin and walked to the cabin's entrance. She waited until Frank Lee carried a bucket of alcohol-free beer over. Captain, do you want a cup? Frank raised a large bucket of beer with one hand. Katlia shook her head firmly and asked in a seemingly casual manner, is this the will of a benevolent mother? No, Frank said rather seriously. I just feel that drinking liquor that has been altered by a modified sedative isn't good for the body. I hope that they'll be able to accept this drink that has no alcohol inside other than the smell of alcohol. Of course, this is only a preliminary result and it doesn't involve a liquor. After all, it can't use distillation to enhance its taste. Katlia was momentarily at a loss for words as she nudged her heavy glasses on her nose bridge. After 2 seconds of silence, she said, do you hear the benevolent mother's voice or the divine epiphanies? No, Frank didn't think much of it as he shook his head. Phew, Katlia secretly heaved a sigh of relief like, oh, okay, we're good. He's free. Watch the video. At that moment, Frank casually added, the benevolent mother's will is in the ears of the wheat, in the milk of the cows, in the growth of the mushrooms, and in every corner of nature. One can feel it without the need to experience the divine epiphany. Katlia's gaze immediately shot towards Frank's eyes. She didn't find any signs of madness, only pureness. Without another word, she nodded slightly and walked forward. She crossed Frank Lee and arrived on the deck. After taking in the sea's vista for a few minutes, Katlia returned to the captain's cabin. She unfolded a letter and wrote, Easy, did you do your timestamps? Yes, that's what she wrote. We're good. I wonder what's your take regarding Frank's actions. He claims that he doesn't obtain any divine epiphanies and believes that the benevolent mother's will is hidden in every nook and cranny of nature. This was a letter to Grimmansborough. Katlia believed that she just added such a question he would be able to understand what she was implying. After folding the letter, she took out a gold coin and began to summon the terrifying messenger. Ma'am Hermit wrote me a letter, and immediately after the terror gathering ended, it should be related to the hidden stage. It can't be that fast. Klein was on a cruise ship traveling on the Tistic River. Wearing a black robe, he took the letter from Miss Messenger's mouth and opened it. He finished reading the content with a glance. This, Klein frowned slightly. Perhaps it was because Frank had shown enough danger and madness in his unusual behavior that he had actually neglected the possibility of this druid being affected by the mother goddess of depravity. What if he's just so good concealing his madness? We just don't know. Frank corrupts the mother goddess. It was actually the other way. That'd be wild. Easy, ghosted whiz. No, 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 no. Like, it's still unfolding right now. Frank once had been placed on trial by the Church of Earth Mother for a forbidden experiment, and then he was placed on a wanted list. If Earth Mother hadn't been corrupted and the Church of Earth's operations were rather normal, then it means they believe that Frank is problematic. However, if there's concrete evidence, Frank, who went to the court, probably wouldn't have lived. Klein's mind raced as he attempted to find clues based on his understanding of Frank. There's no problem with the relevant actions. The prayer posture and his usual prayer gesture are different. It's just like how when the Beyonders of the Church of Evernight pray, they won't draw 4 stars on their chest at times. At most, they'll go through the final motions. Apart from the small problem, there's something wrong with Frank in every aspect. There's something wrong with him in every aspect. He's like a child raised by the mother goddess of depravity. Is that a hint at something? As these thoughts flashed through his mind, Klein had two contradictory guesses. Either Frank's corruption was very hidden, making it impossible for the church... Yeah, that's what I'm thinking now. Either Frank's corruption was very hidden, making it very impossible for the Church of Earth Mother tribunals to be certain, or he wasn't affected by the Mother Goddess of Depravity at all. It was purely because he had a mental problem that made him look like a bless of an evil god. Regardless of which guess it was, Klein believed the subsequent development wouldn't be good. He remembered very clearly that Frank's mushrooms experiment had to break through because he had been given an assistant who believed in the primordial moon, and the primordial moon was one of the manifestations of the Mother Goddess of Depravity. Check. That also meant that from the moment forth, regardless of whether Frank had any problems in the past, he could very well have entered the eyes of the Mother Goddess of Depravity. Oh, because of the primordial moon. Trust me, you don't want to know. It's too, you'll literally go insane if you know the whole lore. I don't know, man. I think someone's working on a lore video. Someone's working on a history video, so I think we're gonna find out. This wasn't a good thing. Of course, I can't eliminate the possibility that Frank is excessively crazy, causing the Mother Goddess of Depravity to just look away. Klein mumbled in amusement, hoping to make the best out of it. This was nearly impossible. The horror and strength of a foreign god wasn't something that a demigod could understand. Klein even suspected if it wasn't for the overly intense response that would destroy the anchors of the deities, allowing them to attack each other in a frenzy, resulting in the beyond characteristics to gather and awaken of the oldest one. The outer deities might have already destroyed the sun and destroyed the ecosystem of the world. They weren't able to do anything to the oldest one barriers, but they were free to do anything to the star outside of the barrier. Something Klein wonders if the astronomically observed sun was real or not. Perhaps it was just the eternal blazing sun that the hang himself... What? Something Klein wondered if the astronomically observed sun was real or not. Perhaps it was just the eternal blazing sun that hung himself there? So far, there shouldn't be any major problems with the mushrooms that Frank invented. I've already dealt with the... What? I didn't think about that. What the fuck? I've already dealt with them above the Great Fog. Furthermore, the residents of the City of Silver, the Moon City, didn't show any abnormalities. Yes, after they left the forsaken lands of the gods, they abandoned farming mushrooms because they lacked monstrous corpses and had sufficient food. The more Klein thought about it, the more fearful he felt towards. If it wasn't for the fact that the Mother Goddess of Depravity powers that could penetrate the original barrier was still extremely limited, Klein suspected the cards of blasphemy and mushrooms would have left him corrupted. Sephiric Castle would have unknowingly changed owners. These were things that had been placed above the Great Fog for a long time and didn't undergo any special sealings. Compared to the flamboyant Mother Tree of Desire, they usually low-key. Did I just read that? Low-key? Did I just read the word low-key in LOTM? The usually low-key Mother Goddess of Depravity, MGOD is low-key, was far more terrifying. Mr. Dor and the Emperor were silently corrupted by her. As expected of existence that stands atop the outer deities, despite losing two beyond her pathways and the Sephira, Klein sighed inwardly. He took out a pen and paper and prepared to write a reply to Catleo. At that moment, he realized that Miss Messenger had been waiting by his side the entire time, without returning to the spirit world. The 8 eyes of the forehead stared at him unblinkingly. What do you think of Frank? Klein hesitated before asking. I mean, other than his nickname, the 4 heads and Renette Tinker's hands spoke one after another. He only appears like an adopted son of an outer deity. He then asked... Wait, I skipped a sentence. In other words, Frank wasn't affected by the Mother Goddess of Depravity previously. He was simply crazy. Klein heaved a long sigh of relief. He then asked, what about now? As Frank summoned Renette Tinker every time he wrote a letter to Gerben Sparrow, Klein believed that Miss Messenger, who had a very high status, had a relatively clear and accurate grasp of the state of the Mushroom King. I don't know either. No one fucking knows. Renette Tinker's 4 heads answered one after another. Following that, she added, his body temporarily hasn't been corrupted. Does that mean that you can't tell if his psyche is affected? That's right. Other than his low level, Frank's usual actions resemble more of an evil god than me. Klein lampooned as he took out a gold coin and flicked. I'm sorry. Is Frank like actually low-key crazy and is like a big bad guy that we just don't know yet? Has he just been scheming this whole time? What the fuck? Klein lampooned as he took... Oh shit, there you go, lampooned. I haven't seen that in a while. Klein lampooned as he took out a gold coin and flicked it. With this medium, he quickly entered a dream divination state. At the same time, he was prepared to activate Sephira Castle to cut off the outer deities from watching. Scenes flashed past as Klein saw several features. Yes, the greatest threat right now is that the primordial moon believer. I have to separate him from Frank, or things will become extremely troublesome and dangerous. If Frank doesn't come into contact with anything related to the mother goddess of depravity in the future and doesn't advance to a demigod, there shouldn't be any problems. If only one of these two conditions is satisfied, the chance of an accident happen will increase greatly. If both are satisfied at the same time, I can't see the developments at all. Klein snapped awake as he interrupted the results of his divination. Perhaps because Frank's level was too low and he wasn't too affected by it, Klein's divination happened to smoothly without encouraging any danger. Phew, he suddenly exhaled and caught the golden coin. Then he realized that Miss Menger's 8 red eyes were focused on the gold coin in his palm. Give me the money? Klein twitched his eyebrows, expressions in doubt. It has Sephira's Castle's aura. Renette Tinker's 4 blonde red-eye heads shook up and down. This is one of the 5 gold coins I often use for divination. Oh, that's the one he flicks. It has already been tainted by the aura of Sephira Castle. This way, it can be considered a mystical item to a certain extent. However, the effect will be drained over time. Klein carefully looked at the gold coin in his hand and made a rough judgment based on his spiritual intuition. This gold coin could increase the accuracy of divination and enhance a user's ability to resist any interference. Just because he's been flicking it repeatedly? Huh, I never thought about that. To Klein, this was a pleasant surprise. That was a reasonable development. He decided to use the actual gold coin rather than its historical projection. Retrieving the gold coin, Klein wrote a reply to Ma'am Hermit and handed it to her through Renette Tinker. After giving Germitsbro Messenger another gold coin, Katlia unfolded the letter and quickly scanned it. After reading it, she felt her shoulders weigh down a little. Without any delay, Katlia took out another piece of paper and wrote, Your Majesty, I dreamed of your finding that the primitive island is successfully returned. The situation of the descendant of the Emperor is getting worse. If he continues staying in the future, I suspect he'll go crazy. If you don't mind, I want to send him over to you. Like, you worry about him. He's your problem now. What we need to take note of is that although he claims to no longer believe in the primordial moon, no one has ever confirmed that. He's lying. My greatest worry is that it's difficult to obtain the main ingredients of a clairvoyant. If you have returned, I wish to find a time to return the magic wishing lamp to you. Fucking take it back. Why is the next chapter called More Than Half a Year Later? The only thing we found out was in 6 months, Audrey's brother would return? No, because it was in Sephira Castle. So because Klein's been flicking the gold coin in Sephira Castle, over time it caught the aura of Sephira Castle. So now that's what Klein said, right? So like the gold coin became a mystical item to a certain extent. That's pretty fucking cool. That's so sick. Wait, so then would he be able to, because he mentioned void projection. So like in the future, would he be able to use a void projection? Oh, I'm sorry, shit, he just gave away the gold coin right now, right? So if he uses the void projection and just holds it, it would amplify him to a certain extent now, without needing to summon Sephira Castle. That's crazy. That's cool as fuck. Chapter 1226, after we did our Nikkei dailies in like 3-4 minutes. Woo! Almost missed daily reset. It's called 1325, more than half a year later. City of Generosity Bam in a rented apartment lit up with gas lamps. Verdu Abraham, who was wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses, held a thick stack of information. He was reading seriously under the dim light, drawing a symbol and recording what he deemed useful information from time to time. He left alone and came to the roasted archipelago mainly to avoid being watched by Dorian and his own other family members. And he focused on studying mysticism. He wanted to find an effective way to save the ancestor Bethel Abraham, or rather reduce the difficulty of the known ritual. However, he hadn't made any headway after half a year. It was as though he had no other choice other than hunting a bizarre sorcerer, a parasite, and a secret sorcerer. Oh, thank you. There's notes. Thank you. Praise Almighty. This made Verdú rather depressed, but he was clear about how dangerous a grade 0 artifact was. Even if he was willing to sacrifice himself, he was unable to truly control it. He was unable to guarantee the final outcome. And the most important thing was that he couldn't find any bizarre sorcerers or parasites. They were all saints that were hard to track, with styles that were known for being strange and bizarre. Verdú put down the stack of documents in his hand and muttered silently, "Don't tell me I can only place my hopes on the Fool like Dorian and the others." Fuck yeah, Verdú. Upon thinking of the Fool, Verdú couldn't help but frown. This is because there were more than half giants promoting the Fool's faith in Bayam City. So much that even he, who rarely went out, heard of it. So more people are hearing of the Fool. That's fucking cool, man. So he's gonna get more believers over their time. That's crazy. This made him suspect if he had arrived near the headquarters of the Church of the Fool, if it wasn't for the mysterious knowledge that was spread in the secrets in the Roasted Archipelago, was far beyond Verdú's expectations. Many of them were things that the Abraham family didn't know of and were extremely useful. He would have left Bayam last month and headed for the southern continent. Wait, I think you put the wrong chapter number? Oh shit, you're right, I did. It's 25. Good catch, Milosh. I can't stay here any longer. I need to buy ship tickets to East Ballam as soon as possible. Just as Verdú made a decision, he began to waver. Dorian and the Fool probably wouldn't expect me to hide in the area under their headquarters jurisdictions. Emperor Rizal once said that the most dangerous place is the safest place. As some hesitation, Verdú put down the documents and switched off the lights. With the moonlight from the window, he walked towards the bedroom. At the corner of the balcony in his room, a figure suddenly jumped out of the darkness and jumped over the railings. The figure was like a feather, light and weightless. It landed from a height 10 meters above the ground, 30 feet above the ground, without making a single sound. Right on the heels of that, the figure moved through the shadows in the vicinity of the Church of the Sea God and went up to the bell tower. Then he took out a pen and paper and wrote the report on tonight's surveillance before stuffing it into a crack. At the figure left, a howling wind suddenly sounded above the bell tower, and 15 minutes later, the report was pulled out from the crack by an invisible hand, and it swept through the wind. It rose and fell into the distance like a bat spreading its wings in the dark night. Not long after, the report plummeted like it had been bound to a rock, landing on a hand that extended out in a hidden corner of the garden. This had belonged to the Cardinal of the Church of Storms, Alger Wilson. He then unfolded the report and began to read in the darkness. He was completely unaffected by the lack of light. Even in the dark sea, Alger couldn't see it around him clearly. My nose. He was completely unaffected by the lack of light. Even in the dark sea, Alger could see everything around him clearly. Verdú is becoming more resolute in his intention of fleeing Bayam. Estella Opera House, Liza P. Alger nodded indiscriminately as he came to the conclusion. Over the past half year, he had been monitoring this member of the Abraham family according to Mr. Fool's instructions, but he hadn't noticed anything abnormal about him. After Verdú left the Roasted Archipelago, his mission would be completed. However, Alger didn't wish for it to end just like that. He believed that he had made enough contributions. All he did was simply monitor a Sequence 7 Beyonder without any special characteristics. The Hermit had already obtained a Sequence 3 Beyonder characteristic from Queen Mystic and had gathered the corresponding supplementary ingredients and was busy preparing the ritual. This made Alger deeply stressed. Of course, he had also done many things according to Mr. Fool's intentions, but even he felt that there was a huge difference from doing those tasks. With the ordinary identity, status, and strength of the Sea God, for a moment, Alger wanted to use all sorts of methods to force Verdú Abraham to expose himself, but in the end, he gave up on an idea. This was because he couldn't be sure of Mr. Fool's attitude towards the target. Previously, when the City of Silver and the Moon City sold Beyonder characteristics and potion formulas, Alger had purchased some from the Terror Club. He had already used it secretly to nurture a team of Beyonders who were loyal to him. He's like, I'm forming a team. He gave up on an idea. This was because he couldn't be sure of Mr. Fool's attitude towards the target. Previously, when the City of Silver and the Moon City sold the Beyonder characteristics and potion formulas, Alger had purchased some from the Terror Club. He used it to secretly nurture a team of Beyonders who were loyal to him. This was how he had people monitoring Verdú. Currently, this less than 10-meter team was mostly at Sequence 9, which only a small number of them had been promoted to Sequence 8. I'm sorry, Alger has his own... So now, is Alger making his own group of people? What? As for Alger had obtained the money for purchasing Beyonder characteristics and potion formulas, the answer was very simple. As a cardinal of the Church of Diocese, Alger could easily save a sum of money for himself, and during that period of time, the minerals, farms, spices, plantations, and factories in the Rochard Archipelago were sold at below interesting value. As long as one had the funds to buy them, they could earn a lot after a short period of time. More importantly, the Church of Storm's headquarters was quite interested in beyond characteristics and potions, formulas sold by the City of Silver and Moon City. They provided a large sum of money for their purchases. The go-between, without a doubt, the Cardinal Rochard Diocese Olger Wilson. It is understandable that some losses were inevitable during such situations. Reigning in his thoughts, Olger decided to sell some mysticism knowledge in Bayham's Beyonder circles through his shadow guards. He wanted to bait Verdu Abraham and keep him in the vicinity for as long as possible. The main reason is that City of Silver's preachings has frightened the gentleman. Olger shook his head and muttered inwardly. He then destroyed the report in his hand and walked back into the cardinal. The sky had just lit up, and a young man walked out of the hotel leisurely, enjoying the scenery of Bayham's morning. He had just bought the Tiana beverage that was packaged with a fruit shell when he suddenly felt a huge shadow appear beside him. The youth turned his head and looked up bit by bit, only to find 2.5 meter tall half-giants walking out. "Excuse me, sir, do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior, Mr. Fool?" The half-giant... Our Lord and Savior, Mr. Fool. That's crazy. The half-giant bent his back and tried his best to make his smile appear amiable. The youth drank a mouthful of Tiana and pointed to the side. He smiled and nodded, "Sure, but not here." He then walked to the place where they wouldn't be in the way. The seemingly oppressive half-giant followed wordly. "Go ahead." The youth didn't hide his curiosity at all. The muscular half-giant's expression turned solemn. "My lord claims to be the fool in the past, the present, and also in the future. He is the great ruler who dominates the Spur world. He is the king of yellow and black who wields good luck. He is also the landmark when every living being seeks eternal life." What the fuck when was this mentioned? "He is also the landmark when every living being seeks eternal life. My lord lives above the real world and in the spirit world. His benevolence spreads across heaven and the land. Then there are a total of 6 angels under him. The angel of Mercury, Mercury is the embodiment of fate, my lord's most cherished angel. The angel of death has followed my lord for the longest period of time and is the consul of the underworld. The angel of redemption is my lord's bugle, the messenger of his revelations. The angel of life is the crystallization of wisdom itself. She is the indestructible spirituality that resides in everyone's body." Upon hearing that, the youth laughed. "Your lord is really impressive. He actually has so many angels to serve him." Not only that, the half-giant replied gently, "There are also the angel of retribution besides the Lord's throne. He is the Lord's lightning, the Lord's rage, and the Lord's palm. It's all the judge of the fallen and the ones who aren't chaste." This is so badass. What the fuck? In contrast, the angel of retribution is the angel of time. He is a king of ancient times. He eventually submitted to my lord and now strikes the bell of heaven. What? The bell? What the fuck is with this bell? We still haven't talked about the bell in episode 1. What? He eventually submitted to my lord and now strikes the bell of heaven? Amon is angel of time. Amon the angel, he's a king of ancient times. He eventually submitted to my lord. Amon submitted to fucking Klein and strikes the bell of heaven. Get out of here. Impressive. The youth sincerely sighed. Upon hearing such a response, the half-giant couldn't help but smile. Then he described the various miracles that Mr. Fool had performed as succinctly as possible. Finally, he said, "It's already been 15 minutes. I wouldn't waste your time. If you're interested, you can go to the Fool's Cathedral on the 16th Phillip Street. This is the biggest cathedral in Bayham City. Huh, the rest are still planning." The youth man nodded. "I'll pay a visit if I'm free." After watching the half-giant turn and leave, the youth took out a crystal monocule from... Oh, wait, what? Wait, I'm sorry. Was that fucking Amon the whole time? "I'll pay a visit if I'm free." After watching the half-giant turn and leave, the youth took out a crystal monocule from his pocket and wore it. What the fuck? Was that Amon? He's like, "Oh, he's a pretty cool guy." Wow, shit, what the fuck? The half-giant walked straight back to the restaurant and changed into a chef's attire. What the fuck? Baldur. Oh, Baldur's Gate? I understood the reference. Baldur, you went proselytizing again. The restaurant owner asked with a smile when the industry association recommended this half-giant to learn he's learning culinary. This is so cool. To learn culinary skills from his restaurant, he had been rather reluctant. He always felt that the other party could kill him with just a swing of his arm, and he didn't seem like someone with any culinary talent. However, he was now very pleased with Balder. Not only was he humble, obedient, and willing to take hardship, he had quite the intimidating demeanor. This scared off gangsters who had placed their sights on the restaurant. The only problem was that he would go out every morning to proselytize the fool. That's funny. We keep away the gangsters, but at a cost. What the fuck is Amon doing? Just like, oh yeah, the fool. That's pretty badass, man. Of course, like, oh really? An angel of time strikes the bells of heaven. Oh, that's pretty cool. And oh, that's pretty cool. Of course, the restaurant owner couldn't say anything since it wasn't working hours, so he didn't mind. Balder seemingly smiled honestly and walked into the kitchen. He said to his good friend Bone, who had come from Moon City to seek refuge with him, "I can teach you how to roast the fish today." Bon looked rather normal, but his eyes appeared awkwardly with just one look and up the other looking down. He was one of the citizens from Moon City who wasn't very deformed, and he had the courage to interact with the people outside. He nodded. "I have to pray in a moment." Mr. Fool sent a revelation to get all the residents of Moon City to pray to him at 9 in the morning. We are at the wit's end, and we are no longer deformed. Oh shit, that was a chapter. All right, let's read one more. So we got one more before we finish this part of today's stream, before we have our volume 6 discussion. Wow, man, this is getting good, bro. I'm more scared to see what I was about to say Wiz is gonna do, because I just read Wiz's message. I'm more scared at what Amon is gonna do, man. I'm scared for Amon. I don't know what this bitch is scheming, dude. Last chapter for today. Cool fanfic, bro. It's crazy. This is exactly what he's thinking. All right, last chapter for this part of the stream. 1326. Yes. And we have a scheduled stream for like 5 hours from now for the other part. Successful mass. Regarding the matter of praying to Mr. Fool, Balder raised both hands and feet in agreement. He didn't have any intention of pressing Bon. He prayed for more than a minute after waking up in the morning, and before sleeping at night, he would thank Mr. Fool for bringing the pure sunlight, delicious food, and a life of no despair. All right, I'll prepare the ingredients for today first. Balder smiled as he nodded to Bon. A few minutes later, he brought many bags of ingredients into the kitchen as if he was carrying a few dolls of curtains. At this moment, Bon found a chair and sat down. He sincerely prayed to Mr. Fool, the great ruler who controls the spirit world, the fool that doesn't belong to this era. I wish to be blessed by you. I hope that you can fulfill my wish of escaping from my deformity. In the cathedral of the Phillip Street and several areas in Bayonne, in the new city of Silver and the new Moon City that was located in the forest, prayers echoed softly simultaneously. The extremely self-conscious Shin, Russ, and company vaguely guessed that Mr. Fool was planning on granting such a wish. As they prayed, their bodies trembled, unable to control themselves. They yearned to be like normal people. They were also looking forward to the bustling and lively Bayonne. They yearned for the grilled fish made from a secret receipt, the candy factories and delicacies from all over the world. They yearned for a life to drink, chat, sing, and dance. In the ancient palace above the great fog, the fool client who was sitting at the end of the long bronze table saw bits of pure light up one after another, forming a majestic sea of stars in front of him. The prayers overlapped and echoed inside Sephira Castle as ripples appeared. Klein closed his eyes and took it in for a few seconds. He raised his right hand and bent his middle finger, wrapping the edge of the long marble table. An invisible force spread out like waves on the surface of water. It surged into every prayer point of light and landed on the residents of Moon City. Shin suddenly felt something raise her hand to touch the middle of her face. The next second, she felt her nose. Almost instinctively, Shin stroked the position several times from the top to bottom before she believed that she had grown a nose that was no longer deformed. Oh man, that's amazing. She instantly closed her eyes, bent down, and pressed her forehead to the ground. She couldn't help but praise Mr. Fool. The praises around her grew louder and louder, becoming more and more uniform. Russ's eyes separated, Bond's eyes became symmetrical, and in Moon City, every deformed person or those who were ugly because of their traits they inherited, they had broken through the original restrictions and their bodies were transformed towards a state of normalcy. At this point, be it the new Moon City, the new city of Silver, or Bayam, they heard the bell of the cathedral ring gong. The ethereal gong of the bell reverberated in the hearts of everyone in Moon City. It rang in the ears of every person who heard it, as though it could cleanse their souls and bring them the most genuine feeling towards life. The tears in Shin, Russ, and company held back finally flowed down. They felt their minds and bodies turn tranquil, no longer having a speck of dust tainting them. They subconsciously raised their heads and cast their gazes towards the source of the gong. They discovered they came from Bayam New City, an unknown distance away from where they were. A miracle. A miracle indeed. A thought suddenly popped in the minds of the Moon City citizens, and the new city of Silver there was connected to them. Wait, Shermont and company cast their gazes into the distance and cast their gazes towards Bayam. The gong came from there, praised Mr. Fool. They mumbled at the same time as they praised their right palm to their left chest. In Bayam City, Bon adjusted her posture with Balder, who had tears streaming down his face. They faced Philip Street and towards the cathedral they belonged to Mr. Fool. They listened attentively and gratefully to the holy chimes from the heavens. Dude, imagine sitting in mass and we like pray to the Fool. We should do like a Discord like ceremony where we recite the Fool's honorifics. Could change song here. However, above the great fog, However, above the great fog, the Fool Clang was somewhat astonished and confused. The sudden chiming of the bells wasn't within his plans. He then turned his gaze to the Fool Cathedral at 16 Phillips Stream. Almost at the same time, he used the prayer lights to see the tall bell tower that was attached to the cathedral. He saw a young man wearing a pointed hat and a... Is that Adam? No, fucking Adam. That's Amon. Almost at the same time, he used the prayer lights to see the tall bell tower that was attached to the cathedral. He then saw... There's a lot of blue today, yeah. Song is too low? I got you. Almost at the same time, he used the prayer lights to see the tall bell tower that was attached to the cathedral. He saw a young man wearing a pointed hat and a classical black robe standing at the top of the bell tower. The young man was holding a black bell hammer and was striking the bell repeatedly. This youth was holding a black bell hammer and was striking the bell repeatedly. As if sensing the gaze from above, the youth stopped. He lifted his head slightly and adjusted the crystal monocle on his right eyes. Oh, shit. I got the music typing right, fuck y'all. At the same time, his smile wide and inclined, nearly cursed. Wait, what? What's happening? At this moment, his eyes glazed over almost in an unconcealed manner. He didn't understand why Angel Tamamon would suddenly appear and seriously strike the bell of his cathedral. Is he striking it because fucking Balder is like, oh really? Oh shit. Yeah, is that like, oh really? I was striking I'm striking the bells of heaven? Clang was actually mentally prepared for Amon and Zartul's possible arrival. This is because there were just too many people in the City of Silver and Moon City. There is no way they could secretly integrate with the outside world. In other words, the City of Silver and the Moon City would definitely be known to the various churches of the secret organizations. Under such circumstances, be it public or private proselytizing, it would affect any future development. Therefore, Clang suddenly agreed to the City of Silver's attempt to proselytize the faith of the Fool. This was the preparations for him to have more anchors for the advancement of Sequence 1. Amon said, bet. Literally. Oh, really? I do that? Okay. Due to his premise, he was prepared for Zartul, Amon, and the other hidden enemies to come to Bayam. He even hoped that they would do... Why would he fucking hope that? He even hoped that they would do so. Here, Klein, who had the status and level of a Kings of Angels in Spheric Castle, was about to fully display his home ground. Advantage as for the City of Silver, it also had a grade 0 artifacts. It could completely resist Amon and take down Zaratul. Oh. It could completely resist Amon and take down Zaratul. Compared to his main body, suddenly encountering or preparing enemies elsewhere, or the discovery of his Marionette City, this was undoubtedly a better choice. Let me raise the volume up a little bit more. However, Amon's current actions confused Klein. He didn't understand what the god of deceit wanted to achieve. 16 Philip Street, inside the Fool's Cathedral, the Archbishop on duty, the City of Silver 6-member council, Elder Derek Burge, also looked up in astonishment at the stainless glass. Rays of sunlight shone inside, allowing Derek to read on scene after another thought. After another. As the black bell hammer fell, the tremors of the bell gradually stopped. So he dropped it. I didn't arrange for someone to strike the bell, Derek frowned. As a member of the City of Silver, as a demigod of the Sun Domain, he had a sharp intuition and knew that something must have gone wrong. However, the strange ringing of the bell didn't bring any accidents. Oh, it was a strange ringing, so it was an abnormal sound. So was it something with a black hammer? However, the strange ringing of the bell didn't bring any accidents. Besides the ringing, everything seemed normal. As Derek observed the surroundings with the help of his unshadowed beyond powers, he quickly considered whether the bell had any symbolic significance and mysticism. After eliminating the possibilities, he suddenly recalled the Holy Bible of the Fool made up by the City of Silver. There was a There was content related to the striking of bells. It was used to describe the relationship between the Angel of Time of Amon and Mr. Fool to confirm his true status. Towards that sentence, Derek was still against it because he knew that the blasphemer Amon wasn't Mr. Fool's blessed. Their relationship wasn't even harmonious and was actually hostile. However, the lies he made previously had convinced that the other members of City of Silver's 6-member council, they believed that the Angel of Time Amon was the first entity appointed by Mr. Fool to cast down the light for the people of the forsaken lands of the gods. It was because he had parasitized Derek, which had resulted in the subsequent changes all the way up until hope descended. Derek had wanted to explain that he was embarrassed this would only bring up too many lies, making him lose his image with the other elders of the 6-member council and the citizens of the City of Silver. It was just like Miss Justice had said before, a social death. Finally, he chose to delay any actions, hoping that Mr. Fool would take a look at the Holy Bible. If there was anything inappropriate with the descriptions, he would definitely send a divine revelation to change the views. To his surprise, Mr. Fool didn't say anything and silently agreed with the contents of the Holy Bible. Could it be that Amon is striking the bell? Derek was momentarily dazed as he found it too unbelievable. He hurriedly lowered his head and began praying, reporting this matter to Mr. Fool above the great fog inside Sephira Castle. Shit, Derek is fucking cunning now. He figured this shit out quick. Above the great fog inside Sephira Castle, before Klein could eliminate Amon, the other party suddenly turned transparent and transformed into a beam of light before vanishing from the bell tower. What does this fellow want? If his father is the emperor and not the ancient sun god, then I can reasonably suspect that he is striking a death knell for me. As Klein checked if there were any Amons lurking in the bodies of the City of Silver and Moon City citizens, he analyzed Amon's motives without any clue in mind. What the fuck is he doing? Just as he was about to use the divination to see clues, Derek completed his prayer. Holy Bible, Holy Bible. The corners of Klein's mouth twitched as he summoned it from the junk pile to the Holy Bible the City of Silver had sacrificed to him. He's reading his own scriptures. Previously, he had only flipped through a few pages, but he was too embarrassed to continue reading. He took out a position of burying his head into the sand. Of course, he wasn't careless in this aspect. He was so extremely cautious, he used divination inside Sephira Castle to confirm that the Holy Bible wouldn't bring him any harm. With this premise, he allowed the City of Silver to use this Holy Bible. He slowly took a deep breath and reached out his right hand. He flipped the scriptures pages by pages. His facial muscles began to twitch and the corners of his lips uncontrollably parted. Klein flipped faster and faster. Finally, he saw... Oh, it's the last page. Finally, he saw the last page. Pah. Klein suddenly closed the book and threw it back onto the junk pile. After this miracle in Moon City, yes, the potion has mostly been digested, huh? The Marionette City will have to step onto the stage of history. Klein observed his condition without expression and nodded indiscriminately. Ever since he had gained preliminary controls of Sephira Castle, he could receive digestion feedback from the real world. Oh shit, that was it. We did it. So we did 10 chapters and 2 hours. I think that was a good pace. That was a good pace. I didn't see this. In a fierce battle, there would always be a variety of accidents, such as instant will, belt napping, and having his pants drop. Oh, that's his pants falling in volume 2. That's fucking funny. That's a good one. I love all the Dally done artwork. On Twitter, I've been recently seeing a lot of pictures of them together, and it's really cute and wholesome. Pride? Damn, look at her fucking dragon eyes. This is so... Wait, do I have it on screen? Oh, yeah, we do have it on screen. Let me adjust my camera a little bit. This is... So... I need to fix my camera. Because I have myself like this centered on full screen. But whenever I go to this camera, I have to crop it a little bit better. I have to fix it. This is cool, though. Pride. So, originally, it went all the way up to her ears. Like the mouth, right? It was like slightly open. No, it was different. Oh, okay. Femlin? Oh, wow. Wait, is there spoiler art? Is that supposed to be a one? This is crazy. Yeah, there's spoiler art. We won't look at it. It's crazy. So this is gonna be his fate, his future. So this is what he was thinking about. Like, oh hell no. And then he's like, this is a test. Oh, on Twitter. No, don't worry. On Twitter, I'm only on it briefly. Yeah, I'm only on it briefly. It popped up my recommendation. Yeah, don't worry. Though I know to only go on it briefly, otherwise it's GG. Like the only spoiler I ever saw was during when they announced the 10-year plan. People got really excited, and that's when they were showing all of Klein's personas. I remember reading the word Merlin, and I saw him with long hair, and I looked away. But like all it took me was 1 second to be like, oh shit. I was like, is his last persona Merlin? So I've been thinking about that. And then I remember in chat, there's been a person called Merlin Hermes for so long. And it's like, you know what? There's been fucking German Sparrow. There's been all these fucking names that people have been using and I just don't know. And I'm like, holy shit, it probably is Merlin. But that was it. As far as I... Hold up. I'm not gonna show the bottom part for just because that's a little too spicy. The bottom part was a little too spicy, but okay. All right. Wait. Wait, I'm kind of scared now. Oh, wait, I'm really scared to go through this one. Wait. Whoa, chill. That's a top. Yeah, that's okay. She's weird. Okay. Woo! Wait. This got too spicy. Wait. Okay. Trying to like. Okay, this is tameful. This is. Oh, you guys sent this one earlier. This is cool artwork. This one is very demure. This one is very demure. Wait. I know now to go forward because then it's gonna loop back. This one is very demure. Wait, I think I accidentally took. Wait, hold up. I thought I actually took a screenshot. I'm not trying. The screenshot part was a bit. Hold up. How do I hide? How do I hide this? Wait, this is too spicy. No, wait. How do I hide that? Wait, let me just keep it down here. So let's go back. Let's go back to chat. No, right here. We're back. So Amon was like, oh, really? I strike his bell? We're homies? Oh, this is cool. Oh, my God. This is fuck. Wait a minute. The new artwork was, the new official illustrations. They have one with Klein, and then there's a bell tower behind them. I remember that. I was like, that's pretty cool. And I'm like, it reminds me of the bell from episode 1. Oh, this is cool. That's cool. This man's having the fucking time of his life, bro. Oh, this is really good. He's like, dude, shut the fuck up. You know what? I do kind of respect this part that Amon is like, oh, really? Where like, I'm like, I ring the bells of heaven for me. Yeah, I'll do it. And you know he heard it, and like he didn't do anything bad. That's it. He just rang the bell and he fucking dipped. Now I'm over here wondering, like, bro, is he? I don't know, man. Like, is this bitch really a good guy or a bad guy? I really don't know. I've reached a point where I don't understand this dude's goal. Like, I don't get it. Remember to give me mod roll. No, it's like I don't understand what the fuck is this dude's like main goal. He's a troll? Yeah, he be trolling. Like, he's been like quote unquote a bad guy, right? Like volume 6. But then it's like, I don't know, man. But then like over here, his brother Adam, it's like, that's bad. My man started an entire war just for that. I'll just leave it there. We're gonna end it. We'll end the recording at least for that part. But we're gonna have our volume 6 discussion for Wiz. Let me just quickly use the bathroom. And I'll be right back. I probably shouldn't say that part of the recording. Be super quick. And LTM spoilers, but I can't send them to... Okay, well, we're gonna end it there. We're gonna go have our discussion with Wiz. Stretch. You like what you see, and you want to see more. Like, comment, sub. Going to the washroom after... No. I was gonna say, when is the volume 7 discussion if you leave now and stream later? No, yeah, we're gonna do the volume 6 one right now. Yeah, we're doing it right now. We're doing it right now. We're doing it right now. Alright. Later, guys. Peace. Have an amazing day. Stick around. What? You guys are hyping up the next part of the read-through. You guys are low-key hyping up, what's it called? You guys are hyping up, what was it, 27 of 35? So I'm kind of pumped. The next 8 chapters should be kind of crazy. And then we're done around the, you guys said the 50s? Damn, that's crazy. So that means volume 8 is like short. Like short. Because if it ends around the 90s, that leaves less than 50 chapters. Huh. All right. All right, later, guys.